The stream is alive.
It's live. Why does it do that setup? Check, check, check. I thought I was getting a sound backy thing. Ice is. Oh, goodness gracious. Is that something that's floated around before, or did you come up with that?
I can't, like, to me, it's one of those ideas that's so obvious that someone else must have done it, but I haven't seen it. But I did get some internet love this week for that.
You already put it out somewhere else?
Yeah, like just when somebody posted about the...
What are their names?
Yeah. Jesus Ochoa and Raimundo Gutierrez. I said, oh, they were in the KKK? The K?
Jesus Ochoa and Raimundo Gutierrez are the two white supremacist ICE officers that killed the whiteys.
I don't know if those numbers are accurate. I mean, I wonder if they even release those numbers. Somebody was saying that like 50% of ICE is Latino, which makes sense.
I think it's accurate. It looks like it.
You know, I mean, well, it makes total sense for lots of reasons. At least, you know, obviously they tend to speak Spanish. Extremely handy dandy when you're working in ICE. You know, and also this whole thing, like, I mean, the hatchling thing this week seems to have been like, I don't know, it's really bugging me. I've been having, in fact, literally just before I came on, having an argument with some dingbat on Facebook who says, you know, the Fourth Amendment doesn't let them break a door. Like, you guys can't be this fucking stupid in real life. You know, in fact, also, like, the same guy was saying, like, ICE has no power to investigate or arrest anyone. They're just process servers. Like, literally, anybody can look this up. Like, what are ICE's powers? They can arrest people.
All the powers.
People. They have all the powers.
All the powers of any federal agent.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, they don't perform traffic stops. That's true. You know? But like, I was thinking about this week about, like,
we've got a former Customs and Border, Charles worked for him, says he can attest that half of them were Latinx.
Wow. But I was realizing, like, you know,
look at this verified here real quick though. Ochoa 2018, Gutierrez 2014.
Oh, boy.
How's that for your fast?
Yeah, they clearly had no training. They were just idiots. They were just a couple of dumb Mexicans who didn't know any better. No, and I was thinking about, like, the joke version of this is like, you know, so everybody knows that the Supreme Court has ruled that if law enforcement is chasing you, and all you have to do is run into a room and lock the door, and you have to yell "Ollie, Ollie, Oxenfree," and then the cops have to close their eyes and count to 1,000 while you pick a new place to hide. And so the problem is that even if Mexicans know the word "Ollie, Ollie, Oxenfree," because of their accents, they're not understood. And so the cops don't realize it, and then they break the door down in violation of Supreme Court rulings that say that they can't. Like, because, like, this whole thing is happening just because, you know, in Utah this week, ICE went to a business to catch a couple of them, and they went into a room and locked the door. So ICE smashed the door and got them. And everybody's screaming, like, they didn't have a warrant for that. No, like, again, like, this whole idea, like, you know, what's his name? Ted Bundy. Like, when the police were chasing Ted Bundy, all he had to do was run into a room and lock the door. And, oh, well, the chase is over. He got away. We don't have the power to pursue somebody we're trying to arrest.
They might have been doing one of those, I guess, legal de-arrestings that they get trained so hard in those ICE documents. We were just trying to de-arrest that girl. Have you seen them try to claim that? Here's in those documents, those training documents that they got, it's all stuff about how to get de-arrested and how to help another person around you get de-arrested. So it's all techniques to get de-arrested, and then they talk about it like that's like an actual real technique that should work.
Yeah. Well, it's like, here's the, like, okay. I mean, this is one of those things that, again, we shouldn't have to talk to hatchlings, because, you know, there's a channel on YouTube that I've been watching quite a bit lately, and it's all body cam footage and other video footage, but mostly body cam footage. and it's examples of cops violating people's Fourth Amendment rights. It's a whole bunch. It's all videos of unlawful detentions, unlawful searches and seizures, but like the secret is don't resist.
Oh, bootlicker, you're a bootlicker. You're
And
like,
then
you lick
and then
the
it goes to
booty.
court, and then you get a lawyer and you pull the video, and the video is
make it the millions. Yeah.
And then you sue and you get a nice little payout for having your rights violated.
That used to happen in Nazi Germany all the time. Like, you just
Yeah,
went and you sued the SS and like, oh, we owe $2 million. But it is the Weimar Germany. It does not that much money anyway. You can't buy a loaf of bread. Yeah. Anyway, I guess Jared said he's going to be a little bit late. I don't get right all the way into Minnesota stuff, but I don't know if Jared was that big of a Catherine. Oh, I know. I think he mentioned Catherine O'Hara, but she might be more of our generation entirely. But
well, because one of the weirdest things about me is I've never actually seen the movie Home Alone.
Nuh-uh.
I literally and I am the exact age of Macaulay Culkin. I was the exact age of the audience for that movie, but I haven't ever seen it.
No way.
I know what it's mostly about. It's one of those things where it's like, you absorb it through osmosis and you see a lot of the clips and whatnot. But
I mean, it's not bad. I mean, just like everything done by the same guy who made this movie. What's his name? John, the 80s dude.
John Candy?
No, the director. He made like 16 Candles and all these Chicago movies. They're all based in Chicago.
Why can't I think of his name?
It is not Chris Columbus. He's the director, but is it John Hughes?
Yes, there it is.
John Hughes movies, and they all are based around, and John Hughes came up with it, and they're all based around these Chicago places and kind of use the same people. That's why Macaulay Culkin's there with John Candy and Uncle Buck and all that stuff, and they all just kind of feel and sense like they're in the same universe right there, strangely enough. But Home Alone's not bad, man. I mean, it turns into basically just Tom and Jerry, towards the end of it, or whatever sort of a slapstick, Bugs Bunny type thing, try to get the kid who you can't get. But everything up to there is like fine, like it's pretty good, like what a kid would do if he was stuck home alone, and Catherine O'Hara being crazy, and that's how she forgot them all with too many kids and all that sort of stuff. But
it's funny that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I said there's a bunch of people who show that there's like actually like a secret Christian message in the whole thing too, and it really is. There's all this stuff about this homeless man going around who's shoveling ice, who Kevin's afraid of all the way through it, but it's got all sorts of Christian messaging in it. Maybe I'll find that. Some people say, "Oh, it's secret there," but like if you think about it, it's like really right there in the whole thing. But
I think it's funny because the first news alert I got about Catherine O'Hara was from the Brazilian news, and I was reading it, and it's like, oh, the famous actress of Beetlejuice, and They Forgot Me. I'm like, They Forgot Me? What? I've never heard of any movie. They Forgot Me.
What is that?
It's Home Alone. That's the Portuguese language version of Home Alone was They Forgot Me. Esqueceram de mim. And I looked it up, and the Spanish language version is Solo en Casa, direct translation of Home Alone. But the Portuguese version, and which kind of makes sense. Like if I think about it, like if I was translating to Portuguese, it would be En Casa Sozinho, which doesn't have the same connotation, and so it kind of makes sense. But yeah, the Portuguese version is Esqueceram de mim, literally They Forgot Me.
I was kind of joking with you, but I said like, do the Brazilians hear what we call it and go, oh, geez, those Americans are so literal. So literal, just Home Alone? That's just a literal take on that. Me dejaron.
They left me?
They left me.
That would be a good name.
Here.
Also went viral about how Home Alone is a Christian movie. This is nuts. I can't believe I've never noticed this before. It's the scene where Kevin's walking into the church, right? And I'm going to read this. He says, watch this scene very carefully where Kevin is drawn into the beauty and warmth of the church. As he walks inside to O Holy Night, he hears the words, fall on your knees, oh, hear the angel voices. Now, next screenshot. I'm setting the mood.
Yeah, I like
A
it.
sanctuary candle passes across the foreground, indicating that Christ is present inside the church. Then next screenshot, Kevin has an encounter with a Christ figure. Now, if you think this is crazy, just stick with me for a second. Kevin has an encounter with a Christ figure, Old Man Marley. Now, this isn't in the post, but I'll just point this out. When you first meet Old Man Marley in the movie, what's he doing? He's salting the earth. Now, so check this out. So Old Man Marley, Christ figure, Kevin makes a confession to him, then shakes his hand, and we see a bandage on Marley's hand. Now, check this out, bro. Check this out. It's never
Bro. Check it out, bro.
explained in the movie why his hand is wounded. But earlier in the movie, we see, drumroll, go to that next one, go to the next one.
Whoa.
His hand is pierced all the way through. So top there, blood. Go back to the other one. Bottom, blood. His hand is pierced all the way through, like the nails driven through Christ's hands on the cross. At the end of the movie, Kevin cannot save himself from the burglars. And so Marley appears again to rescue him. Home Alone is a Christian movie.
Wow.
That's great. Is that the Cardin Ellis of Protestants?
It's totally a Protestant, but at the same time, I think if you watched it, you would have been like, oh, that's obviously a Christian reference, that guy.
Well, I just looked it up, and apparently John Hughes was a devout Catholic and very actively faithful. That makes sense.
Yeah. Anyway, Catherine O'Hara. When I think of Catherine O'Hara, I always think, well, Nightmare Before Christmas, but maybe people didn't know that for forever. But I was such a freak about that show. I looked it all up and then realized it was all kind of like the same comedy troupe that was around forever. And I really got into all those fake mockumentaries.
Christopher Guest mockumentaries.
Christopher Guest mockumentaries.
That's the thing I know her best from, for sure.
Best in Show, A Mighty Wind. I guess that song that they played in A Mighty Wind was nominated for an Oscar because Oscars are very important. But that was back in a time when Oscars did sort of seem to mean something. But
oh yeah, we gotta talk about Grammys.
Home Alone 5 left on Little St. James Island. I saw a thing of Macaulay Culkin talking about he's got a bunch of kids now, and he shows them the movie and he doesn't tell them that it's him, and his kids haven't put it together yet, and just lets it go. That's kind of funny. But I don't know what else you remember Catherine O'Hara from. I mean, she's in a million one things. Did you watch Schitt's Creek?
I watched the first season of that.
It was all right. I wasn't crazy about it, but it was
that's what I like. I enjoyed the first season, but also, I didn't seem like it had the legs to keep going. Although I still think the funniest thing I still laugh about, because it's the kind of joke telling I love, where like there's nobody on screen talks about it or references it in any way. It's a purely visual joke, and it's so perfect. And it's the first episode, and they're in the little small town cafe, and they unfold those giant menus that are like high, like 5 pages, and they keep folding it out, and it's like, that's a perfect joke. It's just that ridiculous thing of the tiny cafe with the enormous menu.
Yeah, she's wild because she could really disappear into stuff as the straight person, and then but at the same time, like, I don't know how she wasn't listed first as Home Alone, because I think her just like popping up yelling the name Kevin is one of the most meme things before memes. Like, there wasn't a person on earth who didn't know the Kevin in the airplane thing for 20 years there. But Beetlejuice stuff was awesome, and then she played wacky and wild characters. Was she on was it SCTV or just running around with those same guys for years?
I don't know.
Stuff. Anyway, Catherine O'Hara. I was gonna make a joke with this. I'll do it later when Jerry gets here. This was in the Epstein files. No, it wasn't. This is Steve's comic, but it's about his guy. Steve Eliason made a comic about Dick Dilly singing and everybody praising him in church, which I think is kind of funny because this is just him remembering Dick Dilly singing in church. And if you follow the saga of Dick Dilly and stuff. Dick Dilly was a Cub Scouts molester, but I guess more Christmas. There's Christmas messaging in this one. Did you see the Christmas messaging in this one? Oh, you're not seeing it. It's not on the screen.
It. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Here it is. There. He's got Dick Dilly singing "Oh Holy, Oh Night Divine."
He remembers the short sleeve shirt too. That's
the short sleeve shirt and Dick Dilly, and somebody saying he sang the wrong note. But yeah, good one, Steven. German Home Alone. Oh, he said in Bolivia, it's my one angelito, mi pobre angelito. Yeah. Owen Benjamin. This is put on the Lobsters. This maybe kind of makes sense, but in Owen Benjamin crazy kind of way. If you want to better understand the Epstein situation, here is a quick spell break. The victims are the Jewish pedophiles because the Holocaust and America's puritanical views on sex, they unironically view themselves as the victims to be protected. You assume they're talking about the kids. Now, does that make sense?
I'm not following that. Is it supposed to be satirical?
I think he's saying that when they were delaying putting out the Epstein thing forever, they said we needed to protect some victims, and that's why we have to redact it. We need to do all this stuff. And he says, unironically, the Jewish pedophiles think that they're the victims in the situation, and that's who needs to be protected.
Well, I guess there's Dershowitz.
It's kind of
Chomsky.
It's kind of Chomsky,
like I forget.
Yep, Chomsky's in there. Out of the mouth of schizos. You know, out of the mouth.
I don't know. The whole Epstein thing, like I said, like the more we learn about it, I mean, like, 'cause that's the other thing. It's like, because everybody's waiting for these revelations. More shit came out about Andrew, and then a bunch of shit came out about some high-level British cabinet guy.
That seems to be the only thing that's going to actually make any change in the world.
Yeah, and but you know, like the people that everybody's been speculating about all this time, Trump and Clinton, like, there's no smoking gun yet, and like at this point, I have to wonder, like, because you know, the other whole thing is like, if there was actually dirt on Trump in there, like actual dirt, the Democrats would have done something by now. They had Biden had it for 4 years. There's no way that his Justice Department wasn't going through it looking for like, what can we get him on? What can we get him on? And yeah, like I think all it is like we're not learning anything we didn't already know. Like he was a sleaze. He talked to a lot of powerful people, and that's about it, you know.
Yeah, I'm very confused at the situation, partially because of how much it is a lot, and also an extreme nothing burger at the same time.
Yeah.
But, did you hear the stuff about the Mormon blood? That's what this thumbnail's about.
The Mormon blood?
Yeah, you didn't hear about that?
No. Oh, I saw something about how he was apparently trying to pay tuition for some BYU students.
Yeah, in exchange for their blood once a week.
Wait, I didn't know that part.
Yeah.
What did he want blood for?
He wanted vials of their blood. We don't know exactly what for. Adrenochrome, I guess. I don't know what the deal was.
How is that not bigger? How did I miss that?
Well, Ward Radio covered it for a night, and of course they had Quaco covering it, so it got a. It was weird. You know, it was like heavily hardcore truthy. You know.
Yeah.
Let me see. I've got something. The Jasmine chick gave a brief rundown of it. Hold on.
What's her name? Rapley?
Yeah, is that how you say it? Ripple Eye or something like that?
I don't know. No, there's a lot of these people, like, because there's all this news that broke out about Elijah Schaffer, and I have no idea who he is. I had to look him up.
You didn't know? I know that you'd seen stuff from Elijah Schaffer back
possibly like
during the first Summer of Love. He was one of the guys who like went into the Walmart and got like walloped in the head by people and stuff like that. I'm sure just the same way we share around these whippings here that you saw, because he was just one of the main ones showing up to the thing. Kind of like currently you have Nick Shirley and Cam Higbee and who are the other, Nick Sorter. You know the names you hear about them being there to take the whippings. he was there at the Summer of Love to take the whoopings. That's really what
Huh.
shot him up. And then from there, he parlayed that into, he got put on the Blaze. The Blaze had him on for a while. You got to remember this. He was on the Blaze for a while, and he got fired from the Blaze for hitting on Sydney Watson. Sexual harassment on Sydney Watson.
Just don't follow the right that hard, I guess.
Oh my goodness, Flip! Do you even watch Fox News? I'm just kidding.
I have been accused of it. Like Bill Gephardt, who it turns out is a complete and fucking total nutcase, told me today that I watch Fox News.
Was that just today? Because we brought it up. We were meant to bring it up last week before you left, and we brought it up after you left, and I completely forgot about it. That's sometimes when I'm hanging here is because I was like, I knew there was one specific thing I wanted to ask you about, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I should just stop. The guy literally comes off as a nutcase, which is disappointing because, you know, like I always liked him when I was a kid on TV. He was, for the people not in Utah, Bill Gephardt.
Yeah, he did good stuff, kind of like Nick Shirley stuff. He went around and like caught people in fraud is what he did.
Yeah, basically.
Hold on a second here.
This is a breakdown of every Mormon connection found in the Epstein files, including a reference to Mormon blood and what this has to do with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. With the newest batch of Epstein files that just dropped, there are a handful of documents that mention Mormonism in some way. Most of them are about tickets to the Book of Mormon musical, but then it starts to get a little sinister. This document talks about a possible victim of Epstein's who was an ex-Mormon, and after leaving her faith, her family, her boyfriend, she was left quite vulnerable, and Jeffrey Epstein preyed on her, and she became his personal assistant. This document records Epstein attempting to pay for the BYU Idaho tuition of a redacted student in 2011. As BYU is a church school, there is a good chance the student was a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Epstein had a history of doing favors for or paying for the education of girls he liked, so it's possible that this student was a victim of Epstein's or was related to one of his victims. This is easily the weirdest part of this whole thing. This document explains how Epstein paid for a redacted girl's school tuition as long as she sent him a pint of Mormon blood every week. I don't really know what's going on here, but the whole thing reads like erotic fan fiction, and it's dated to several years after Epstein's death. So unless proven otherwise, I'm going to assume this is actually just a fictional story. I could be wrong, but let's hope.
Yeah.
And now to possibly the more concerning piece. Epstein sent an email that said, had to meet with the head of the Mormon church. For all the research I've done, I see no evidence to indicate that the church was involved in any meaningful way with Epstein, even if he had a passing encounter with someone high up in church leadership. But what everyone else is missing is a huge piece of context that completely changes what this event is even referring to. To get the full breakdown of this and all the instances of Mormon in the Epstein files, watch this video on my YouTube channel. This is a breakdown of every...
Yeah, well, see, this raises another thing about the Epstein files that, like, everybody's playing hatchling about, which is that, like, once the FBI opens an investigation, they have to catalog literally every tip they get, and they undoubtedly get flooded with completely bonkers crap. And
yeah, the majority of the stuff that was brought up about Trump was brought up between 2020 and 2024.
Oh yeah, there you go. I mean, I remember like whatever, it was almost 15 years ago when I worked for police, and I worked for a tiny university police department doing 911 and dispatch, and I was in Utah, and about 5 times a week, we got calls from a schizophrenic lady in Idaho telling us that, like, I can't remember, it was a bizarre cast of characters. It was like Joseph Smith and some other dead Mormon leaders and like famous actors and like tennis players were all torturing some famous person's son in the basement at the university. Like, just completely crazy stuff. Obviously, we didn't have to investigate that. But I'm just saying, like, that's things like if the FBI, every schizophrenic that has a hallucination and sends an email to the FBI about Jeffrey Epstein, it all gets logged. Like, you know, they talk about like 3 million documents. Like, that's where a lot of that stuff comes from. It's like, okay, put it in the file, and that's all in the file now.
Yeah, one of the most frustrating things I've seen is all the people that were screaming for them to release the files. are now also criticizing them. Like they say, it was not our job to decipher what all this meant. You should have deciphered what it meant for us. Like, well, if you wanted them to decipher what it meant for you, they would have been sitting there typing that out for 15 years.
Yeah.
3 million documents.
No, like it's the Rorschach files. It's everybody just sees what they always wanted to see in them. That's what we're getting out of that.
That's a good way to put it. Although there are some other things that are fishy, but another thing I keep seeing is like, we want to see arrests, and you're like, there's not one thing. The one thing that might actually have legal consequence is that Mendelssohn guy
And Prince Andrew
in England, because they just revealed that they gave up some trader information early about stuff that the government was doing.
Yeah.
And that might be the one actionable thing, but at the same time, the U.S. couldn't have done anything about that. That's a foreign country, So all along, everything else, it would just have to be more investigations, which is what some people are calling for. We want more investigations, like who are these other people in these things, and go down the rabbit hole of what they're talking about in these things.
Well, then also,
I guess Pizzagate's like back on the menu now because they talk about pizza so much in there.
That's something like about the files is that I mean, one of the commenters just said that they obviously did like a word search for Don T, and so the word don't just gets redacted out of the files because again, obviously, I mean, if you had an army of lawyers, you couldn't get this all in the time they want. Yeah. But also, like apparently, I linked that BBC article in the message group about how like a bunch of the victims are like, you assholes, our names are unredacted, dickheads. And then like apparently like, there's a bunch of nude photos that slipped through, and like they made a bajillion redaction errors with that, which doesn't exactly surprise me. Because when I looked into the in Utah there was a case that got kind of a lot of news, which is about a psychiatrist in Provo who got accused of being part of the Church of Satan and part of a mass murdering sex cult. And I was interested in the story because I was mildly acquainted with this guy. My dad, I stayed in his house in Spring City when I was a kid because my dad did a bunch of decorative painting for them, and they were like friends of my extended family. And so like, and I knew the girl who the woman now, I mean, she's my age, who was making the accusations. So like I downloaded somewhere a journalist, put a link to the charging affidavit. And so I read like her many hundreds of pages of charging documents, and it was all redacted by Provo police, and they did a terrible job. Like, because there's a lot of times where, like, despite the redactions, it was very obvious who was talking about whom. And then there was a bunch of stuff where, like, they just straight up forgot to cut names out. And, like, for example, like, they accused my cousins, who was, like, 13 at the time, of being involved in this stuff. And they completely forget to redact his name, right? And now, end of the story is like all charges have been dropped with prejudice. It dragged through the courts for years, but last year the charges against this guy, and like they also arrested his wife, all charges were dropped with prejudice, which means that they can't even refile the charges. It was so odd. And also in the charging documents it comes out that like, oh, where did these accusations come from? Oh, the girl went to a repression therapist of this old guy.
That's in these documents too.
Yeah, there's an old guy in Provo who was a satanic panic repression therapist. Like, he's the same guy who Hugh Nibley's daughter went to.
Yeah, those things are 0% hit rate. They're not even like 50% hit rate of guesses.
Yeah,
they're like 0% hit rate.
Because that thing's like, I mean, I've delved into the darkness of humanity enough to know, like, no, there are horrible people out there. Like, there are evil.
I think there was horribleness here. It's just it's horribleness that's going on now. And what it is it's payola for big things moving and shaking around the world. And it gets juiced by things like drugs and girls and wild stuff.
Yeah.
And that's it.
because like this case, like what the stuff that the girl was accusing her dad, and like she accused a former governor's brother who was the attorney general. She accuses basically all of Mormon church leadership of being part of this giant mass murdering cult. And like a lot of this happened in a tiny town of less than 1,000 people in San Pete County, and like she references hundreds of murders. It's like, okay, how did they like there's just no conceivable way that they're just picking up all of these hitchhikers and nobody notices like the corpses piling up. I mean, she says that they were disposed of in a pottery kiln, which doesn't make sense, but like one of the funnier things is that she said like, oh, when they couldn't get people, they sacrificed animals, and they did this like on at least a monthly basis. And in the charging document, in her affidavit, she says, oh, we got the animals from the Provo animal shelter. It's just like, I just imagine like the shelter, like, oh, Sister Christiansen, another puppy? Well, here you go. Like, nobody ever asks a question. Like, why does this one family need a puppy a month? But yeah, I don't know, completely bonkers. And that's things like a lot of people pointed out, a lot of the stuff in the Epstein files reads like crazy stuff. But like you say, like the real dirt is just creepy money stuff, a lot of corruption.
If you listen to Mike Benz on Joe Rogan this week, but Mike Benz all the time, he picks out the stuff that's actually interesting in it, which really gets kind of released and just goes over everybody's head because they're just looking for the salacious stuff. But he's just noticing where money deals are happening. And like, look at this deal. Did you realize this deal was happening with this deal and that deal was happening with that deal? And he's just picking up on all that stuff. And he says he doesn't feel that there's evidence that it was at all necessary to blackmail. It's just juicing. It's just juicing deals. And they all juice deals with each other that way anyway. And having dirt on each other is not even really an aspect of it that he doesn't think. According to him, he says he's open to some evidence otherwise. Hard to swallow pills. Nobody will go to jail for Epstein stuff. Nobody will go to jail for Somalian daycares. But if you're a middle-class family who parks on a double yellow or pays the tax bill 0.1 days late, the entire legal system will activate to crush you.
That guy must be English, because parking on a double yellow is a very UK thing. That's not an American thing.
Yeah.
Well, I got a traffic ticket last week for crossing the double yellow line, which was...
You did?
Yes, it was a chicken shit ticket, but...
I got pulled over for swerving my lane when I was cleaning my window, but he gave me no ticket, so I must have gotten off good.
No, the cop, like I'm debating about whether I should even going to try to argue my case, but because like the cop was immediately like almost apologetic, was like, well, I gave somebody else a ticket for this, so in order to be fair, I have to give you one too,
and I have a quota to make. It's quota day. But
and it's like, well, okay. Well, that's the other thing that cracked me up is that, oh, dang it, this picture's old. But just because I'm already talking about it and it's pissing me off, I'm gonna show everybody, do my defense thing. Share screen. Googly Earth, share screen. Are you seeing my Googly Earth?
Yeah.
Do you see?
What?
So, are you seeing the Google Earth?
Yeah.
So this is old, but they recently, all this construction right here is done. And when they finish this construction, this double yellow line is here like it is, but then they drew a double yellow line here that goes like that. So like there's this area of double yellowness. And I was at work and I was heading back, and there's a huge line of cars here. And I didn't go into this lane. I went through that little section of no-go zone. And then the cop pulled me over, and I pulled over right here. And I had the incredible irony of watching 50 cars cross this double yellow line while he wrote me a ticket for crossing the double yellow line. I'm like, dude, that should have been a warning.
It's so dumb. The way they'll charge over like a freeway to pull you over, and it's like so dangerous to even pull over on the freeway for them to stop.
Like, yeah, dude, like you could like simple warnings like, hey man, you can't cross the double yellow lines. I know it's a dumb thing, but you can't do it. And like, all right, I'll watch my shit in the future.
He's
But
probably sit there doing it though too.
Yeah, I mean it's not Murray, so because we all know Murray is famous for ticky-tacky bullshit.
Yeah.
It's Midvale police. We'll see.
I got pulled over in Bountiful and they never loaded it up to the court. I'm probably sitting there wanted for something for some guy who didn't load it up. I checked for 6 months and I asked my little brother who works for the police force if it was there, and it's not there. The guy's probably like loaded it late and it's probably sitting there late, and I'm probably got like a warrant out for my arrest. I should go check and see, or like drive into the courthouse to see what happened with it.
Well, that's the other thing where it's like, because they're like, you need to call the court between not less than 5 days, not more than 14 days. So yesterday I call him and the message is like, you have to come in, stupid. Like you can't even talk to a person, but it's like, wait, why did you say call?
Well, I lost the paper that had it. I don't even, but it's still saved in my computer, like what the court case was.
Like, why can't I do this shit online? Like, especially if I just plan to pay it. Like I said, I haven't decided if I want to go through all the trouble of actually going and trying to plead my case, but because it might just not even be worth it depending on how much the ticket is. Well, but that's the other thing I mentioned in the group today that like pissed me off about just how stupid the world is that I have this zero interest credit line with PayPal that I use when I order shit online. And earlier this week, I went to pay off the balance on the app, and it did something spazzy, and it didn't look like the payment went through. So I put the payment through again. And then PayPal posted both of the payments and threw my account into the negative. So I've got a credit on there. And so I contacted them like, hey, like, this is obviously a duplicate payment. Can you reverse one? They're like, no, we can mail you a check. And I'm like, your entire fucking business is moving money around electronically. It's literally everything that you exist to do is electronic fund transfers. You really can't just reverse the obviously duplicate payment. Like the guy's like, I wish we could, but we can't. Like, fine, I'll just I'll buy gas with it and stuff for a while. But it's just like it's such a stupid thing where it's like, no.
My case number is still in the court there. I just looked it up. It still doesn't show up. That's like a year ago. Do I trust that I don't have a warrant out for my arrest?
You probably do. I wonder. You
should I go drive into the courthouse and say, hey. Anyway,
that's the other thing. Like, you should be able to go online and like look up your shit and see.
I'm looking right now. You want to see? I don't care if people see my ticket number.
Is there any identifying information on there? Your address or shit?
No, it's just my ticket number, and it says there's nothing there. Here.
Huh? Maybe you lucked out. Like, I wouldn't put it past it. Like, I wouldn't put it past it. The thing online is wrong.
There it is.
In real life, you've got the thing.
So I got a friend that moved here from Tennessee, and they called him about. They had him on camera running a red light, and they called. I was standing with him at work when they called him to tell him about that. Is this Thomas? And he's like, no, this is his brother. Thomas actually died. And they're like, oh, okay, well, we're sorry. So he just faked his death to the whatever buttfuck Tennessee county that was.
Oh, brother.
Hey, so breaking news. Breaking news. Did you guys already talk about it? That the thing that was just sent in the chat?
I have not. I can pull it up.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Oh boy. I predict retardation that lasts about an hour and 90 minutes.
You do? How would you know that's what's going to happen?
It's Team Stupid. Team Stupid.
That dude right there that they have on, he's a professor, I think, over at Colorado. Steve Pinecker had him on, and he's a Native American whatever guy. And he kind of irritates me. I listened to him once, and I kind of commented on the show that, like, all of his criticisms about how the Mormon Church uses Native American stuff, I understand that and all that sorts of deal. But he totally then flips and does the straight up noble savage stuff. Just 100% like, I go to the church that's really true, which is the old Native American churches, and it really fills me with real actual spirituality.
Wow, they had it right.
Yeah.
I think it's like civilizations it's so it's Thomas Sowell, like civilization wise, it's, you know, all trade-offs, right? So some people get the wheel and law and order, other people get the one true religion, you know, so they chose the one true religion. The Europeans chose technology. So maybe they were more noble.
Yeah. But I can't be too harsh on that guy because his wife was Steve talked about it. His wife got put in a wheelchair for the last like 20 years of her life, and I guess he took her around for 20 years. It's like I can't go hard on this dude being all noble savage. I can't go hard on his religious stuff. I mean, I guess I got to let him go hard on the Mormons for them incorporating Native American stuff into their religion, but you know, I feel bad. You know, just
well, I remember watching part of one of his interviews, and I don't know, just when ex-Mormons start talking about the whole Lamanite Native American thing, they just get so soapboxy. It's all just
I have zero patience for noble savage stuff.
Well, I have zero patience.
Partially because I have no problem with the roughness of the old Native Americans. You know what I mean? Like, you guys were badass in that you were rough too. You know?
Yeah. I mean, it takes a real badass to cut the beating heart out of 6,000 children a year. To
yeah, that's not badass at all.
No, it's not the noble savage thing that I was thinking about. It was the ex-Mormons that get all virtue signally and moral postury anytime you bring up the whole Lamanite Native American thing. It's like they say, oh, it's like it was the intention to be racist, right? Like, you guys erased Native history. It's like, well, they didn't erase it as much as they just pulled it out of their ass, right? Like, they just didn't know. Like, they didn't have a written language. They didn't have any way to understand what the history was. So they're like, well, I guess we got to ask God. And so God told a bunch of people around the time Joseph Smith was alive what happened with the Native Americans, and that was their only source, was God.
Yeah.
So I don't think they were trying to be racist, but I don't care.
Well, they get mad that they use the old religion stuff to incorporate into their new religion. So not like any sort of Wiccan people do that or anything. Not like any sort of spiritualists do that with any old relics or anything like that.
One county south of Utah County, where BYU is Sanpete County. And on the history of Sanpete County, Wikipedia, there's 2 articles about the Native American inhabitants going back for tens of thousands of years. And then here's this. Mormon pioneers arrived in the Great Basement in the summer of 1847. The first few years were spent establishing a base in the Great Salt Lake Valley. Then groups were sent, usually by direction of church leaders, to settle more outlying areas. In 1849, 2 Ute chiefs traveled from what is now Sanpete County to north to Salt Lake Valley to request a Mormon settlement be established. The chiefs, Walkara and Soyeta, asked Mormon leader Brigham Young to settle a group of his people in the valley of Sandpitch. Young sent a party to explore the area. It was deemed favorable to settlement, and Brigham Young called Isaac Mormon. They asked the Mormons to settle there in exchange for learning how to farm. So there's your stolen land. Like,
says there's our stolen land.
It's like they're like, well, please, hey, Whitey, please come here and show us how to make potatoes happen over and over again.
Matt Walsh is starting like a true history show, and I don't know how good he's going to be doing it, history or not and stuff, but he claims to be not just kind of going hard and like it's all actually the opposite. He's going to say, well, in this case, the Whitey did do the massacre, and then in this case, the Native American did do the massacre, and then in this case, he claims it's going to be that way. But that is the type of history that I would like, and it almost kind of felt like it was that way a little bit when we were younger. It's like they didn't admit when the Apaches were doing terrible Apache things, and they
it's the people will try to sort of point out double standards sometimes in ways that they'll be like, oh, you think the white? It's almost like they think that because they're noble savage purists that you'd be like a noble whitey purist or something. Because I had the same thing happen. I don't remember which riot causing death of a black person by the hands of cops this was. It was probably George Floyd or something. Maybe. Anyway, I had a friend that would argue with me on was this a justified killing or not, and I said yeah it was, and then he'd be like, why do you think that? And I'd explain and be like, oh man, you're always on the side of the man. If I like you wouldn't admit it, but if you were around in the Revolutionary days, you would have sided with the British during the Boston Massacre. And I was like, well, yeah, no, I do. Like I've read about that, and if the accounts are correct, then they didn't attack first. They were shot at first and fired back, and it was really sad. But guess who else sided with them? John fucking Adams, okay? He was their attorney because nobody else would take the case.
You know, that's something I've been thinking about a bit lately. Is just like, I mean, 'cause I guess part of it makes sense just in the cultural milieu in which we live. But like, there's this thing, like, George Floyd dies on camera with a cop on his knee, and the black community says they did this to one of us. Like, I've never once in my life heard about, some white meth head in a trailer park in Magna getting killed by police and going, they got one of ours. Like I don't.
Or you got to flip it. You got to make it worse. The white crackhead stabbed a couple black kids, and you're like, yeah, but they can't take my whitey to jail. That's one of my guys. Like, do not get him.
They probably those kids probably said something mean to him. Yeah, quit.
Did those kids call him a cracker? Well, then it's justified.
Well, I've had that discussion too, where one of my friends was asking me why I don't like immigration, or not immigration, just illegal immigration. Like, why I think we should like have legal immigration, but have it be kind of funneled in to where it's not just massive amounts of people. And one of the
my
things
temptation when somebody says like, why shouldn't we have what's your problem with illegal immigration? My temptation is to be like, same thing Nigeria has, same reason why Nigeria has a problem with illegal immigration. Same reason Japan has a problem with illegal immigration. Like, just name a country. Like,
but it's
same
also,
reason they don't like illegal immigration.
Sure, but there's also a unique.
The same way the autonomous zone doesn't like illegal immigration.
Yeah. There's one unique factor.
Antifa doesn't like it.
There's one unique factor to America that those other places don't have, and that's that I would say when you funnel in a bunch of people, those people, they're very tribal, right? As all people are, except for American whites and probably European whites. Like American whites, Western whites are just so completely untribal because tribalism has been deemed bad, but just for them, right? So if an Indian comes to America, he's going to be tribal to a certain degree. He's going to try to hire a bunch of people to his business, like a bunch of Indian people to his business, or to some other business that he works for, or get a bunch of Indian people to move in or whatever. So there's going to be even more tribalism in America, except for the white people. That's it. So like, yeah, Japanese don't like having a ton of immigration. I understand why, but they're also a tribal people, right? They're not as tribal as some others, but they are. I mean, they still in Japan right now, they have bars where if I were to go visit, I wouldn't be allowed in the bar because I'm not a native born Japanese person. And it's funny because when you say that to anyone, they'll be like, yeah, that's fair. That's totally their right. You know, you don't get that weird sinking feeling you would get if I said, oh, there's a bar over here that's only for white Americans, or for even just people who were born in America. No immigrants allowed in this bar. Or no tourists allowed in this bar. Like it's just a complete difference, and I don't know.
It is so weird that it's like, I guess because of the Newtsies, which strangely enough, like talking about all this stuff, the Apaches and all that stuff. One of the points of Nick Fuentes that he was making is that sooner or later, the concept of Hitler has to pass into history the same way Hannibal did. You know, it can't be like a fresh thing that just happened to you and is the main thing that we're all thinking about forever. Sooner or later, it's a historical thing of what some guy in history did. And one of the weird things about that was revealed in this Epstein dump, this was even said by Brett Weinstein, is that dude's a straight Jewish supremacist. You know, like if you go and like look up all the type of stuff, I was going to call myself the Goyim Defense League, because he said that we should set up a Goyim Defense League because we're all like lesser people, and he has Jewish only parties, and he says toiling is for the goy, and all this sorts of deal, and it's all throughout the thing. And him and his different people are talking about it. Brett Weinstein saw it in there, and he's like, this guy was just straight up that he was an actual supremacist. But I think
that Jewish
taken out is there really is just different everywhere. everybody everywhere is being tribal except Whitey, and we're the ones getting accused of it, you know, and we're the only
we are
ones
accused of it.
not really doing it.
No, it's complete reality inversions. We're the only ones under lefty definition. We're the only ones even capable of racism, and we're like the least racist group out there. That was one of my favorite ones. Was one of my favorite Epstein releases was that I can't remember his name, but he owns a basketball team and he's a Jew, and he really, really, really wanted to get a free ticket for some event that costs. Yeah, it was like it's $120, and first of all, it's hilarious that a Jew billionaire would try to negotiate you out of $120 ticket to something, but then he said, "Just go wait in the lobby." And you're like, "That's for the goys."
Yeah. He said it, and they said multiple different things, like, "Oh, there'll be goys at the parties," or he was extremely racist as far as like, "I don't want any N-word hookers at this party," and all that sorts of stuff. And these are all the people. He's also the one pushing to get the trans stuff in the schools. That was in the files too, that he started trying to help fund all that type of stuff. Oh, the super forward thinking people. Oh, wait till you find out they've all just been shining you on for their different sneaky things that they're doing out there. But I was gonna look up. I bet you Grok won't even tell me like all the times like it mentioned Goy and the Goyim in there. He said something about like shorting the trade stock future because laboring's for the Goy and all that sort of stuff. We just just straight up saying that sort of deal. And I do just think that it is funny that there is this tribalistic thing going on with whatever the heck he's doing, or running around and throwing the money around. Strangely enough, too, I think one of the big revelations of the thing is that he's dumb. He's not,
why is he so bad at spelling? They're all so bad at spelling. Like, I understand emails between your friends, you're like, I don't fucking care. But some of them were like him reaching out to people, like saying, "As you know, I'm a representative of the Rothschild family," or whatever. And he misspelled shit in that.
Yeah. Yeah. And he, I guess in the Bannon interview, I don't know if you watched the Bannon interview, and he tried to like describe fractional, whatever the fractional banking, the stuff that they type it do, and he just sounded like a complete dingbat. It sounded like, the thing that I think he was the whole time. Once again, I recommend Mike Benz's video with Joe Rogan, or Mike Benz talking about it all along. Is he wasn't the guy in the deals? He was the name in the deals, because what happens in the world is between like the CIA and Israel and the Mossad and all these places. They say, "Oh, you can't know which one he is." Those are all places that they can't just go to like the coffers of the U.S. and say, "Please cut me a check for this amount of money, and then we will sign that check over here, and there will be a paper trail over there for that thing over there." It's just the guy in the middle of all these off-book deals for things that do have national security interest, or who knows what. Mike Benz gets into crazy detail about those types of things that are being debated and argued, and for oil things and all sorts of different stuff. And the CIA doesn't have money like they can just like cut out of a checkbook. And that's one of the reasons they got into drug dealing for all those different years. They're funneling money and getting money off these drug deals to have off-book stuff. And they just needed an idiot guy in the middle of stuff to maybe almost just be like the fall guy, but he's not the mastermind of all the stuff. He's just the guy in the middle of it. It's the other people doing it all, and he's the guy there. That's it.
Yeah, he also, one of the funniest parts was that I've seen so many pictures of him over the last decade at least, and I hadn't heard his voice yet. And holy shit!
So I was actually surprised at how
he is the Jewiest Jew since Rabbi Shmuley.
I've never even thought of that. I haven't heard his voice.
He is so fucking Jewy. He's sitting there talking.
Doing in the bank there is the one, the fractional bank. What happens with the fractional bank is I lend you $1, and then you take the $1 and you lend out the $1. That means you can lend out $9 more.
It's like the voice you would expect to hear coming out of Alex Preddy, right? He's sitting there talking. Steve Bannon asked him, like, some people say you're the devil. Are you the devil? And he's really bad. He's like, "Well, I'm not the devil, but I like to think I have a pretty good mirror."
I'm scared of the devil. I'm scared of him.
Yeah, I don't think the devil is a good guy. Easy.
Yeah.
You are just handing ammo to the Reapers right now.
And strangely enough, so Fuentes starts putting out these T-shirts saying that Jeffrey Epstein actually has aura. He has aura and actually is the cool guy or some sort of thing like that. And part of what Fuentes has always been saying is that whites should be acting like Epstein is acting. You know, we should get tribal and we should all interact with each other and cut deals with each other and only have parties with each other the same way those guys are doing. And when he sees them doing it, he actually praises it. It's so funny too because this thing broke out this week, like Jake Shields and Dan Bilzerian. I don't know if you know those two guys.
Yeah.
UFC fighter, and Bilzerian was a supposed winning poker. His poker playing history story is such a load of bullshit. Just a rich dude who was all over Instagram for years, claims he got all his money from playing poker. No. And the past year and a half, they got really big on Jewish question stuff, super Jewish question dudes. Those guys went against ICE once they found out that they were Latin ICE agents, because they said these Latin ICE agents are killing all our white women. And and then Fuentes got into it with them for that. Did you see all the stuff with Bill Gates?
Yeah,
over the files.
The Jeffrey Epstein. Well, there was the memo Jeffrey Epstein sent to himself, saying that, like, if Bill Gates doesn't fall in line, what you got to do is blackmail him because, and this was, again, it was not an email, so this isn't confirmed at all that it was real. Maybe Epstein is nuts and was writing shit about Bill Gates. All he said was that Bill Gates had tried to ask him for advice on a way to stealthily slip his wife antibiotics for an STD he had accidentally given her. That's
and people
Epstein's
are
claim.
assuming that's the reason that they got divorced, was that exact thing right there. Bill Gates and his ex-wife already made statements on it, and the thing that's weird is his wife didn't deny it.
No, she didn't.
She just said, well, it was a tough time, you know. And Bill Gates says, yeah, no, that's obviously not true. He never sent that to me.
Yeah, you hate to see bad things happen to a guy like that.
Microsoft's been tanking because of it, so that is like a real world action for it, but I'm sure they'll bounce back. They always do. That's the Elon Musk was mentioned in it, but his whole thing was that he was going to go to a party at the island and bailed out of it. But some people glommed on that it seemed like Elon was emailing Jeffrey to go.
Yeah. That's what I've heard. But I don't know. It's kind of like Elon Musk has been clamoring for all of the documents to be released for so long that you're kind of like, well, you know, if he, like, he knew he was in him, like, he knew he's had correspondence with Jeffrey Epstein before, so he would know he'd have to explain himself. So you would not clamor for it unless you thought that there was just no fucking way they would ever release him. He's got Pam Bondi in there. I'm fine.
In the normie world, like, they obviously have this weird idea that, like, if you had any association with him, with Epstein whatsoever, it's because everybody knew that he was a child prostitute trafficker. We're just like, I don't think so. Like, I believe that some people knew, but I don't believe that he invited everybody into his rooms, like, cigar, glass of wine, child prostitute. Like, I'm guessing that the vast majority of people who had anything to do with him had no idea what he was up to.
He might not have been famous enough to some of them, but some of the issue is that a lot of this was after his first conviction.
Well, I remember being disillusioned from that when somebody tried to, like, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, some file dropped or some interview with one of the Epstein victims dropped, and all the news stations started talking about how Donald Trump and George Lucas are in the Epstein files. And everybody started saying, George Lucas, oh no, we love him. He made Star Wars. And then I looked at the actual interview, and all it was they seriously asked, did you ever see Donald Trump at Epstein Island? And the woman said, no, I never saw him there. did you ever see George Lucas at Epstein Island? She said, no, I never saw him there. That was his mention. Those two had that mention in this interview. And every news organization I could find was like, George Lucas is in the Epstein files. And everyone's like, oh my God, he's a pedo. And so now we're going through that with J.K. Rowling as well.
Is she in there?
Oh yeah, have you not seen that? She
I haven't seen that one.
The claim is that she invited him to one of the plays for the Cursed Child, a Harry Potter play that about his son or whatever. And then she actually brought up receipts. I guess she said he was thrown out. I don't know. I only briefly heard about this, but at this point, anytime I hear this person is in the Epstein files, unless there's like a picture of a dude, the dude you're talking about, in a dress hanging in his foyer, I'm not gonna be immediately suspicious, because that's fucking weird. The Bill Clinton dress picture, that's always been fucking weird. It'll always be fucking weird. It's also fucking weird that Bill Clinton flew on Lolita Express 22 times during his presidency without Secret Service. That's fucking weird.
Well, and also, I mean, in the entire 90s, every single joke on TV about Bill Clinton was that he was a womanizing sleazeball.
Yeah.
So are we pretending like we're surprised that it turns out he was a womanizing sleazeball?
Yeah, all they want is like some smoking gun that any one of them are underage. And
I'd be kind of surprised if he's fucking dumb enough, because he's not dumb, but like, how dumb do you have to be as the president of the United States to go and like bang an underage chick? I'm wondering if because the idea is that it's a honeypot, and I'm wondering if part of it is that like
they say it's a 22-year-old hooker and it's not.
Yeah. They kind of like are vaguely they're definitely underage, but the guys don't know it, and they go and get like a rub and tug from him, and then they're like, "You just got a hand job from a 16-year-old," and oh fuck, no, I didn't know. Like, well,
it's okay.
The moral of the
age of
story
consent
is
in the Virgin Islands is 16.
the moral of the story is don't get handies from masseuses, especially if you're married. That's not good. But
Charles, it's funny how they told us there was basically nothing to see here, and then the dump was 3 million documents on us. Yes, I mean, that's totally true. The way they did the messaging, what they should have said is there's tons of shit there, and it's so much and so hard to follow, and it's so up and down and this and that and the other. We don't know what's what or what isn't what. And so, that I think they could have played something like that and even had like an easier time of maybe not releasing it if they didn't want to. I don't know if the world's that much more savvy or a better place for having it out there, but I think they could have played it better even if they didn't want to get it out there. If they did want to get it out there, just saying like, there's a million documents and so much of it's hogwash, we can't even tell what's what. They should have said that.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Okay, this new Epstein email is kind of crazy. Look at this. Bill Gates was planning pandemic simulations with Epstein in 2017.
What if the vaccine is just an STD drug? And
it sounds like a plot of Rick and Morty or something.
Bill Gates just gave us all an STD drug, just a wife for drug.
Jeffy, I cheated on my fucking wife. We gotta go back in time, and we gotta infect the entire world with a virus that kills syphilis. Oh, it's gonna be rough, Morty, but I think we can do it.
All we did was all get a dose of gonorrhea drug. That's all it was.
Yeah, did you see the part about Trump and underage girls? Yeah, those are old allegations already discredited, zero evidence. He did it.
So some of like those claims on Trump, like there's stuff that says he did stuff and buried a girl underneath a golf course and stuff like that didn't even exist. The golf course didn't exist yet. There's stuff like that. Mike Benz pointed out something when he was talking about it. There was something that said that Dershowitz was definitely Mossad and tied to Mossad or something like that. And then they accidentally redacted who was making the claim. And a bunch of people were reporting that one around. And then he said, this guy, his name is Chad Johnson, this guy made a claim on me. This guy claimed that I was Mossad. And then he went and doxed my wife, who isn't my wife and was the wrong person. And then he went and tried to dox and get my sponsors to stop covering me. And those aren't my sponsors and don't cover me.
It's all part of the plan.
And that's this guy being quoted right here.
Dude, how is we are such a faggy culture
Yeah.
that when we talk about Bill Gates being implicated in the Epstein files, the first thing that springs to mind, because it's just everywhere in the headlines, is his goofy sex life, instead of the fact that he's talking about toying with fucking pandemics.
So yeah. There's so much more. That's why you got to listen to Mike Benz, because like the
Who
weird
cares? Who cares about his syphilis?
So listen to Mike Benz. His very first part of it, he says, like, this stuff's amazing. Like, why is it amazing? The JFK files were amazing. And like, what's amazing? Like, it didn't say anything about JFK. It didn't say somebody said, hey, I'm the Jewish mafia. I shot JFK. So those were just nothing. It's like, what do you mean nothing? They revealed 1,001 different things about how different deep state things worked in that time frame, to set up this, to set up that, to set up that. And if you listen to him talk about it, somebody who's actually in the know about all the different little projects and programs and whatever things they got going on, it's a wealth of information for that stuff. But that's not what the public's looking for. We want to be upset at kitty diddling or something like that if it's out there. And
I really want to introduce you to my new 14-year-old masseuse, but I have erectile dysfunction. Oh my God! Headlines: Jeffrey Epstein's dick didn't work. Holy fuck! Yeah,
but it is just a wealth of information, how they meet up, talk, connect, pay money, get money sent around to different places, that sort of stuff. But the strange thing is we all know, we just don't know exactly, but we all knew that that's how the world was going.
The Duchess of York was getting loans to pay rent from Epstein.
Yeah.
Like,
there's
why
all sorts of weird stuff.
Funny, like that's so weird. But it keeps getting further in the past.
He was like floating comedians in New York City and letting them stay at his apartment, all that stuff, like Bobby Slayton and Louis C.K. and stuff like that. He was trying to set up a Return of the Canceled People, where he and Louis C.K. and Matt Lauer would all go on stage together to try to redeem
Epstein?
Yeah.
He's like, oh my God. So there's this, which is Earthworm Jim. It's a video game, but it's also a show that I liked as a kid. There's this guy called Professor Monkey for a Head, and that's just what he is. He's a mad genius, and they share the eyes, but the monkey is like upside down and merged into his head, right? And he goes to a support group at one time, and they're like, well, we have Senator Elephant for a head, and it shows that guy, and we have I don't know, Principal Dog for a head, and all these weird different things. And then it gets to the last guy, it's like, and Cab Driver Oyster for a head. And it just pans over to a dude that just has two weird oysters sticking out of his head, and he puts his hat back on. He's like, I'm sorry, you guys just have much worse problems than me. And I gotta feel like that's what Louis C.K. would feel like if he's like in a room, like Jeffrey Epstein's like, hey, we gotta make a comeback. You got canceled, I got canceled. Like, mine's embarrassing, buddy. Like, I showed my dick to chicks and jerked off, and I did ask them permission, so it's not even illegal, but it is cringy as fuck. I didn't set up Child Rape Island. Like, maybe he should have gone with Kevin Spacey. Kevin Spacey might have taken him up on that. He'd take up anyone.
Okay, whatever. Check this out. An email refers to the founder of TMZ as a good friend who could help with media coverage. A pedo ring was controlling the narrative through media. Not that this is something.
Oh, that's other weird stuff. It turns out that he was connecting up with the creator of 4chan, like way before 4chan. He got kicked off of Call of Duty servers, like Sony Call of Duty servers, back when it was hard to get kicked off those things. Wow. So I guess he was there playing Call of Duty, calling kids N-words or something.
I know. I might have been called. I might have been called a faggot by Jeffrey Epstein in 2006.
Did anybody have like that voice? Like, yeah, Jared, what kind of stuff was that?
You want to, Last Stand is a bitch park, you faggot. It's a bitch park.
Fucking camper.
You're never sniping Karen Town, you fucking idiot.
You quick scoping piece of shit.
Yeah, that's nice, but Trump is in the files. I thought we already settled that with the facts, but Trump is in the files. Epstein had exchanges on trans children and how to normalize it. This guy wasn't just trafficking girls, he was in talks to push gender ideology. Don't care, Trump is in the files. Epstein sent an email saying Ghislaine Maxwell's father got killed after trying to blackmail Israeli intelligence.
That's true. He said that Ghislaine Maxwell's father, Robert Maxwell, who I guess was some intelligence agent, he said he was passed away. He was passed away for trying to blackmail the Mossad for $400 million. Is the claim.
Trump, in an email to someone, Epstein said, I represent the Rothschilds. Trump is in the files. Epstein lived in the Vatican for a while, giving design direction. Trump, he was
I heard somebody said he was like retard Forrest Gump. Like he's the retarded version of Forrest Gump. He was just everywhere and more retarded than Forrest Gump.
Working to overthrow Putin. Trump is in the files. He's literally in a picture with boxes containing CIA documents. Trump. Okay, there are emails about murders staged as suicides, government cover-ups, money laundering, a black market of sex trade, presidents and prime ministers all over the world, Mossad, CIA. Epstein ran at the top of global power. He had influence there. These are things to be looked at. And let's be honest, you didn't care or ask for these files when Joe Biden was president and when he had them. And now, you suddenly care about the children and the victims. And the only name that's been totally vindicated here, yet you're trying very hard to weaponize these files against, is Trump. Exactly.
I don't know he's been totally vindicated, but that's just a bunch of...
Do you remember that one representative who voted against releasing the files?
No.
It was all of them
that voted against it?
Against releasing the files the first time around? Every single one of them.
Last time. No, it was literally one guy who voted against it. And when he was asked why, which people immediately just thought he was a pedo. And I understand that instinct, but he was like, look, if we release them in the state they are now, there's going to be a lot of people who the media and the public just assume are pedos just because they are mentioned in the files, and that's a problem.
That's something that only a pedo would say.
Pedo defender! And then it comes out, and it was like, oh, did you know J.K. Rowling is in the files? Because one time she kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of her play. What? Jeffrey? She benefited from a pedo. Or there's that one senator. I think it was a senator.
Glenn Beck brought up that his name was in there once, and it's in an email. He says something like, she likes to watch Glenn Beck and shit like that. And that's his name in there. But
Glenn Beck is in the file.
Yeah.
Well, so there was I don't know if you saw it. There was... I think he was a senator or a representative. I can't remember. And he was like another senator put his picture up there from the Jeffrey Epstein's file. And he's laying back on a couch, his arms spread out like this. A bunch of underage, like 3 underage kids sitting around him with his arms around him. He's got his hand on one of the girl's legs. And the kids' faces are all blacked out. And he's like, this has been confirmed by journalists that this senator dude was in the Epstein files. This picture came out of the Epstein files, and it was his kids. He's just sitting on a couch with his own children. Like, he released, I think it was he that released the photo with the faces. Like,
I saw somebody make a joke of it, like, look at this picture of Trump with these young girls, and all their faces are blacked out, and it's obviously the Spice Girls, like some picture. And they do stuff like that. But he says, don't you think Trump does protest too much? He is on repeat with the hoax thing. The thing about the Trump stuff is a bunch of that stuff that's out there about him is definitely horse shit that's thrown out from those like shady things. I think Trump did have dealings. If you've ever listened like to a long time to the people who like really followed this for years, with Epstein for years, definitely on a financial level, there's no proof he ever went to the island. But he had a falling out with Epstein before any of these emails started getting collected. His supposed fallout with Epstein at Mar-a-Lago was back in like 2006 or 7 or something like that. And I don't think any of these things are back then. I think you might have some dirt on Trump if you had stuff back to the 90s and that sort of deal. But, and that's one of the things that Mike Benz said on Joe Rogan stuff, is all of this stuff is actually only DOJ releasings. We do not have the CIA files on Epstein, and he thinks that there's precedent that you could make a creation that would have his CIA information going back 40 years. But what I think Trump's upset about and is bothered about is that his whole second term here, I think he relied on getting back in the White House heavily off of fundraising from other people who were in these files, and I think he is in hot water from those people that this all got played this way and got released. That's what I think he's not happy about it, and I think he's got egg on his face because he probably made promises to those people and that sort of deal.
I would not put it past Trump to have gotten in bed with retarded people, like fucked up evil people, to get back into office for sure.
Yeah. That's what I think he's protesting about, because I think he's in hot water with all of them. And I don't think his route back to the White House after getting swamped out was possible unless he did go and start making some, big money in Silicon Valley deals, especially when the tide started turning with October 7th and people were suddenly saying, maybe this lefty side of stuff is a bit crazy. Maybe we could look at getting back over here and funding this other side a little bit here. Did you see that Billie Eilish said there is nobody's illegal on stolen land?
You know how like every now and then like something happens in pop culture that starts to radicalize the normies? This is one of those things. Like I had like 3 different people at work that don't really pay much attention to politics. They like vote Trump and stuff, but they don't really pay attention. Asked me, "Did you see Billie Eilish say that? What was that stupid phrase?" I was like, "Nobody's illegal on stolen land." I was like, "Oh, you did watch the Grammys?" Like, "No, I just know the phrase because I've heard it for over a decade. I've heard it a lot." And these people are like, "That's retarded." I'm like, "It's very retarded. You gotta get off of this retard trail because it's gonna drive you insane."
Yeah, it's funny because you saw that somebody like started making a GoFundMe to say, I'm an immigrant and I want to go live in Billie Eilish's house.
Yeah.
And he got funded a whole bunch of money. And then I guess he went out to the front of her house and he's sitting outside of her gate right now. $14 million. And it turns out that the house is on the land of an indigenous tribe. And that tribe took the opportunity to file a lawsuit case saying that her house is on stolen land. And that's also hilarious.
What land could you walk on that wasn't at one point owned by someone else throughout all of human history?
You can't.
Like Antarctica, I guess. Like we got to move there. That's it. Because where do I go? I'm a fucking mutt. I'm like Swedish, a very tiny bit Native American, fucking Italian, Irish, all this shit. I'm as mutt as you can possibly get. Where do I go? Which one of those can I call my own? Because if I go back to like Ireland, they say, "Oh, fuck off, you cunt! You gotta go back to Germany. You got too much German in you." Like
because that thing is like patrilineally, the first Johnson to be born in the United States was 1638. Like I'm almost 400 years Native of American.
Oh yeah. Okay. So I'm pretty sure I look back at my genealogy. If you go patrilineally, I think the Higdons were Virginia rednecks, like since the fucking Mayflower came, basically, and whenever they went to settle Virginia. So it's seriously like 1500s. We've been here that long.
How long does it take until you're a native? Is 4 centuries enough to be a native of a country? But apparently not. So
most people
way back like 45 minutes ago,
grandkids. As soon as you have like grandkids in a place, they're for sure native.
Risto asked if my dad was conservative, and the answer is, with everything with my dad, it's complicated and confusing. My dad, I remember for a long time, his policy was, because he was a fucking nutcase, he voted Republican for national and Democrat local. And like for a while, that was his hard thing. Like, so for president,
Flip's dad
Congress,
drove
and
him nuts.
senator-
If Flip's dad was here on the podcast, everybody would dig him. But
Oh yeah, No, but-
he was an interesting dude.
yeah. But like for
But
like
Flip had to deal with him interpersonally.
for president and Congress, he voted Republican. For like Senate, Congress, president, he always voted Republican. And then from governor down, he voted Democrat for a long, long time. No, but like my dad was really weird because like he was a white bread, boomer Mormon guy born and raised in Utah. He was also always like my dad was like in terms of diversity, like I mean that's where I got that from, this whole thing where like I'm interested in food and cultures and languages, and I think that everybody that's interesting and new is interesting and new. And I 100% got that from my dad. Like,
Wait, did he serve a mission in Brazil or something?
yeah, exactly. In fact, my dad was the only one of his siblings to serve a mission. In fact, my dad told me a story about being on his mission because my dad, he was a spaz way back then too. Apparently, he grew a mustache while he was a missionary just because he was like, "Fuck the system." My
What
dad
a
was always,
badass.
"Fuck the system."
Flip's dad's one of the horse riders in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid in the distance.
Yeah, no, yeah, that. Yeah, he was an extra in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. But my dad told me a story that, his mission president sat him down once and told my dad, "You are the only missionary here that loves Brazilians. You actually love these people," and like I believe that story about my dad because I can imagine all of his white bread boomer, Salt Lake.
He hadn't been married to one for 50 years yet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he learned his lesson. They're like, "Oh, who are these backward weirdos?" Like, but my dad was always just like, I mean, so like for example, when I was 12, like when I was like 11, 12, and I learned about the concept of like homosexuality, and I was talking to my dad. I even remember we were driving in Kearns, driving home. I'm like, "Dad, like, what's up with this gay stuff?" He's like, "Yeah, some people are different." I'm like, do you know any gay people? And my dad's like, "Yeah, when I was on the ship, my cabin mates were gay." I was like, "What? Was it crazy? Was it weird? Did they try to sex you and stuff?" He's like, "No, they're fine. They're just regular guys. Like, there's nothing to be afraid of there." I was like, like in that, early 90s, it wasn't completely crazy, but like for a Mormon guy to just be like, "Yeah, no, there's, that's just that. There's some people are gay."
Well, that was my siblings always accused my dad, and even my mom, they accused my dad of being homophobic, like actually homophobic, because he makes a lot of gay jokes and he's like, "Oh, that's gross," But I remember when I was in second grade, we were living in Rexburg and he sold our house to move somewhere else, and he sold it to a lesbian couple, and they were making an offer. He showed him the house, and the neighbor came over and was talking to him about it. And he's like, "Yeah, you can't be selling it to them." He's like, "Why?" He's like, they're lesbians. What do you mean?" And he's like, "And they want a house. They should have a house." So, and my dad will cry if you play him. What's the song? It's the Elton John song about a father and a son who were estranged because the son was gay, but now the son is dying of AIDS, and so that like the father's taking him in and taking care of him, and the son's like, "Oh, I didn't understand how unconditional your love was," or whatever. That makes my dad sob like a little bitch. I take issue with people calling my dad homophobic, no matter the amount of fag jokes he makes.
Here, I want to do the gag that I was going to open with, but you guys were both running late. But here. So we're here with the Porch Time newscast, and I'm going to do the newscast now. Good evening. In religious news this week, developments with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, commonly referred to as Mormonism, continued at a steady, largely procedural pace with no major departures from established practice or messaging. Church leaders spent much of the week engaged in regularly scheduled meetings. And it's
gonna read
lost
this
now.
whole thing?
But I was going to start out because I was going to do my impression of Bill Reel using ChatGPT to do all of his Mormon podcasts.
I knew that's what you were getting at.
Yeah. And I had five pages of it, and I was gonna go until you guys made me stop. But nope, all that for nothing.
I knew you were gonna read that whole thing. Oh man, we were talking about Epstein, which, by the way, okay, I figured out one of the reasons we're not like super famous, right? And the reason is because we don't do nifty little tricks like when we're talking about the Epstein files, right? We're like, you know what? I hate pedophilia. I really do. I hate it when kids get raped.
Wow.
Chat. Do you hate it when kids get raped? Hit the like button if you hate it when kids get raped.
Brave.
And actually jump into the
Tell
comment
them Frost. Tell them Frost.
Jump into the comment section and tell us why and how much you hate it when kids get raped. It's terrible. Tell
One
us.
of the things that
Smash the like button.
I find so stupid and cringe is like there's a thing I noticed on the internet where people try to one up each other on how horribly and badly tortured they think that pedophiles should be. Where it's like, it's enough to put them in prison forever.
That's fine.
Like that's fine. We can stop there. And be like, no, I think that they should be covered in fire ants and fed into a wood chipper fleet first. And like,
well, yeah, there's always the one guy
real
that's
brave.
like,
wow, what a brave stance. You think pedophiles are bad. You're amazing.
There's like the first guy that's always like in the comment, he's like, oh, don't give this guy a ride or put him in jail forever. And the next guy's like, jail, no, bullet in his head, lead's cheaper. And then the third guy's like, bullet, no, you got to torture him first. Like, torture, no, you got to chop him like a quarter inch at a time from legs up. And I see that in real time. It always makes me cringe, like, because it's just so. If you're gonna be performative about anything, then do it about pedophiles. But still, it's so annoying. And we had a guy that got fired because he was accused of child porn, basically, and it was proven that he had it. And this dude, anytime we hear a story about this, oh man, I can't do stories with kids. You know, he looks like Justin Timberlake in Bad Teacher. I hate racism. You know, I'm like, yeah, no, we all don't like it that he had child porn. We're all very much. It sort of goes without saying. I think I just hate things being said that go without saying, and I don't like pedophiles. That should just go without saying.
Yeah.
He might still be alive. That came out in the files there.
What?
On the day,
on
the day of his death, before he died, on 4chan, this post was put out 2 hours before he died. Not saying anything.
Man, Chad came back for a third week in a row.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Not saying anything after this. Please do not try to dox me. But last night, after 4:15 count, they took him medical in a wheelchair, front cuffs, but not one triage nurse. Say they spoke to him. Next thing we know, a trip van shows up. We do not releases on the weekends unless the judge orders it. Next thing we know, he's put in a single man cell and hangs himself. Here's the thing: the trip van did not sign in, and we did not record the plate number. And a guy in a green dress military outfit was in the back of the van, according to the tower guy who let him through the gate. You guys, I'm shaking right now. I think they switched him out. And he was unmasked in the files to be.
Dude, you know what's crazy? When I read that,
he's an actual person at that facility, got unmasked in the.
No, the crazy part, I saw that like today or yesterday when this stuff was exploding, and I was like, this isn't new. I just saw the 4chan post. Like, this isn't new. I remember reading this like the day after he died. I remember reading this, and then. Oh, they're confirming that guy's real.
He really was.
That really works there.
Yeah, which is kind of wild, you know. Oh yes. Did you know that they're resurrecting Nimrod?
Why does Nimrod have a jaguar dick?
Or
leopard, Nimrod, I guess. Is that a leopard or I don't know. Fuck it.
He's Nimrod, man. He's gonna bring about the one world government, big old tower stuff.
He's Jaguar Rod. He's not. What the fuck? Yeah, I did hear they're trying to resurrect Nimrod.
So that was Candace's focus this week. Is that she said back in Iraq we raided Iraq because in Babylon, like 90 miles south of what's the Baghdad, there's Babylon where it used to be, and they found Nimrod's tomb and he was still in good condition. So that's why we raided Iraq, because we're going to resurrect Nimrod. And we built our base on Babylon to resurrect Nimrod. And the reason we're resurrecting Nimrod is because Nimrod represents one world government, and we're all so much closer to getting down to the bottom of why they killed Charlie Kirk.
At what point does Candace Owens circle, like, make an entire 360-degree turn? Because it'll be like, yeah, Bush did 9/11. Yeah, Osama bin Laden was a good guy. Actually, yeah, Bush did do 9/11, but he was the good guy. He was right to do 9/11 because Dick Cheney came to me in a dream from the fires of hell. Like,
Do you see the jokes? I think you sent it. So Dick Cheney not in the Epstein files. Dick Cheney just being evil out on his own. He's out on his own. He's the penguin. He's the penguin waddling off.
Yeah, always the horizon. Dick Cheney. It said just in it for the love of the game.
He doesn't need any poon to do his evil. He's like
fuck off.
Epstein calls like, hey, I want you to do this and I can trade some. I already did it. I already pushed the button. They're already dead.
If you massacre a bunch of brown Muslims, I'll give you some 13-year-old poon. What the fuck? That's like, to Dick Cheney, that's telling him like, hey, if you accept this $13 million from me, I'll let you have sex with Scarlett Johansson. Like, what? It doesn't compute.
Yeah, if anybody's not been keeping up on Candace or anything, listen yesterday and tell me that that's not the story. That's the story. That's what's happening.
I have not been keeping up on Candace.
That is what's going on. She's onto that, and now she's onto that.
I can usually spurg out on shit content just as much as Chris can, but Candace, I can't with her.
It's hard. It's getting hard. I mean, she keeps. I want to check out of it, and I really don't like it. And every single time I just feel like I actually wrote on her thing today, not like it means anything because there's 8 million people commenting, but I said, "You are so fucking borderline." But most of her stuff today was just she revealed today she was mad. She found out one time Charlie was doing a money deal without her. And she caught him in it. The way she talks to him is borderline. It's how my ex used to do stuff to me. Any conversation, they might be trying to catch you in a trap, and you don't realize it. You know, and it seems like she was doing that to everybody all the time. You know, like, oh, hey, when's the last time you hung out with Mike? Well, you know, a couple of weeks ago. Really? Why do you lie to me, Charlie? Why do you lie to me, Charlie? I know that you hung out with him more recently than that. Tell me the truth, Charlie. You know. And I don't think she's getting close or anything. But if she cracks the case, by golly, it will be. I just decided that'd be a pretty good TV series, like, you know, borderline. Who was the Agatha Christie? Borderline Agatha Christie. Agatha Christie, but she's borderline. Like, why do you got to talk? Why do you lie to me like that? I don't like when you lie to me like that. In the show, all the way through it. She spurgs out on him because they lie to her.
All right, I got to be lame and bail for work in the morning.
Whoa. Oh, hold on a second. Let me zip through this.
Give me the thing that's going to suck me in for another 45 minutes.
I just want to, there's usually something that I was going to talk to you about, and then maybe it's not there. The rest is just ice stuff. Oh, did you see this?
Oh, you assholes.
Oh, wow. Speaking of which, they put out a what was it? Roblox, not Roblox. The what's the other one? Minecraft. Minecraft put out a Beautiful Trouble patch, so you can like buy a version of it that just has straight ICE protesters in it. Yeah. It's kind of like the Sims or something like that, but now all your Sims are ICE protesters. Jonathan shared it yesterday. Oh, I was gonna get to the Jonathan stuff and the trans stuff.
Oh, that's
You don't want to talk about that?
I can't get sucked in. I have to be good. I need to be good. I got to get up early.
Let me see if there's something else just before. Oh,
I'm glad you
trans.
showed me this derp, though. That is very derp.
Well, the Roblox people answered it. Here's the Roblox people doing the ICE invasions on the house. Oh gosh. Players, and they get to be the Mexican guy.
I know. I don't know. I mean, there's like First Amendment, and there's reasonable doubt, and all this stuff. But like, I just saw a thing. She's far from the only one, but Rashida Tlaib talking about ICE abducting children and going door to door and all this stuff. I'm like, shouldn't there be some kind of perjury charge for when elected officials just make crazy shit up like that? Because obviously Trump lies a lot, and he does a lot of his lies are serious lies. A lot of them are just dumb stuff, like there was 4 million people at my party, whatever.
Yeah,
but like, when you're an elected official and you are saying that
they should have never sold Minecraft. That's the worst thing
you heard. This is it, but they actually sold like a patch that has protesters all in it. Well, there's Selma, the Selma envy. They put it in the video game. They put Maven's Selma envy in a Minecraft. There's Maven having the Selma envy in the Minecraft video game.
But like this thing where like they're saying like just one of the claims is that ICE is going door to door looking for brown people to kidnap. Where it's like, okay, that is a Nazi level propaganda lie, right? Like, and you're an elected official, like people take you seriously, and to say something that dangerously untrue, like, just seems like there should be some kind of consequence for that, but there just isn't.
Wade says, well, Webster wasn't into dicks, was he? Actually, there's a bunch of stuff in that dump that indicates that he was into men just as much as he was.
Once you get into
like
once you get into that level,
we heard that about David Silverman.
Yeah.
Well, once you get to that level of degeneracy for that long, I think you just start doing whatever. I even tried sucking a dick yet. I never thought I'd like it, but I'm tired of all this underage porn.
That was the other thing, Flip. I mean, I guess Elijah Schaefer stuff. Although you said you didn't know him.
Yeah, I have no frame of context for that because like I had to look up who it was. I didn't know who it was. But all right, I'm gonna bail before I get totally sucked in again.
Okay,
we'll see it.
Bye.
Goodbye now.
Have you followed the Elijah Schaefer stuff? Because I got Elijah Schaefer stuff, then I got Jonathan's battling it out with the trans flat earthers. Oh, and I guess Alyssa Grenfell being a tard.
Holy shit, that was dumb. Yeah, so my knowledge of Elijah Schaefer was I watched like 2.5 minutes of him one time, and I was like, this guy is fucking dumb. And then I stopped watching him. I know that because he worked for the Blaze, and then he had a beef with Glenn Beck because what did he call Mormonism satanic or something like that? And
oh yeah, while he was on the Blaze, he did
and then I heard I remember Blair White had a beef with him where she was accusing him of like sleeping with trannies or something.
Yeah, Milo says that he was actually kicked out of a place in college because he was sleeping with men, and it was like the same dorm that Benny Johnson was in. So he's tying it into his Benny Johnson is gay stuff.
No, Benny Johnson is gay for sure.
Yeah, Benny Johnson and Elijah were like roommates in college.
Benny Johnson is gay for his clickbait titles. That's
yeah. I watched the show here and there because I listened to so much stuff. Sometimes I got completely out of stuff, and I dead seriously would think that like I am so out of stuff. I guess I will listen to Elijah friggin' Schaefer. And every single time I listened, it was like he turned into kind of like a Juiceberg a little bit.
Yeah, he did. Well, that's my Tim Pool. That's if I have nothing else to watch or listen to, and I'm on a drive, and the only thing popping up is Tim Pool. I'm like, fuck. Okay, I'm gonna have to listen to. Why does he have all of the people introduce themselves every time? I understand having the guests introduce themselves, but he has Phil Labonte and Ian Crossland introduce themselves every time. Like, you guys are on every single fucking show. What do you got to introduce you? We
No.
know who you are.
Nobody makes me yell "shut up" into the air more than Ian Crossland, and
Yeah.
I don't even dislike the dude. Like, you can tell he's just like a dumb puppy. You know what I mean? But it's just like, why is this guy on the show? Like, he is so stupid. But one of the things that's frustrating about the show is yesterday he has like Chrissy Meyer, who I like, she's funny,
Yeah.
and Actual Justice Warrior,
Yeah.
and 3 other guys. And anytime stuff happens like that, like, I can just set my watch. Like, if I'm listening to any sort of show, I'm like, oh, I like those 2 guys, I will hear way more from the other 3 that I don't like. I'm like,
I know.
oh, okay. Like,
Well, it's from the people that are always fucking there too. Like,
yeah. Like, shut up.
and Chrissy
Yeah.
Mayer was hosting the show. I didn't hear as much from her as I heard from Ian or Phil. And I don't hate Phil, but I'm like, shut up a
We
little
got
bit.
into an argument of who's hotter, Sabrina Carpenter or Sydney Sweeney. I guess that's a big internet thing going on right now.
I'd have to look up Sabrina Carpenter. I can't remember what she looks like.
Let me see if that's like a big thing. I heard it was a big thing going on Twitter.
Oh, Sydney Sweeney for fucking sure. What the fuck is this? What is this fake? Like, okay, that's a pretty one. If you go back a couple years, but what is she, like 20 something? She's 26. The amount of work she's obviously had done to her face. No.
Let me see if I can find like where they were comparing it on.
Oh. Oh, but so Elijah Schaefer was boning that his employee, right, who was engaged and talking about waiting for sex until marriage, and she made her fiance wait till marriage, but she was fucking Elijah Schaefer. That's so evil. That poor cuck. Oh my god. You're muted, Chris. He fucked up his mic. That's okay. I'll keep talking about cucks. I'll talk amongst myself because I could talk for hours about cucks, especially iDubbbz. Yeah, I can't hear you still. I can see you talking, but nothing happening. That's okay. You were holding me back anyway, dude. Let's be real. I'm gonna go full. Okay, there we go. That's good because I was about to start doing my quartering impression. So, did I ever tell you guys a story about how I shat myself at Walmart? We're going to get a female co-host on here, and I'm going to comment on her tits.
I get the stuff that like launched it off Sabrina those pictures, though. I don't like lingerie pictures.
Yeah, I know.
It's way Sydney Sweeney, but... Yeah, I guess that was the big thing. I don't know why they brought it up on Tim Pool's.
I don't know. Sabrina Carpenter is probably very pretty. It's just she had face work done, and face work is unpretty. Did I ever show you? I think I've talked about it on here before. The Pixie Fox. She's like a Swedish model or something, and she was made kind of micro famous.
I don't know
from plastic surgery. She wanted to have like I don't know the inch number, but it was like, I think a 16-inch waist is what she wanted to have.
Oh my gosh.
And so she got she got 6 ribs removed. Like some piece of shit plastic surgeon got this mentally ill woman who wanted 6 ribs removed. And he's like, yeah, for aesthetic purposes. Yeah, I'll do that. He's a piece of shit and he should be in prison. And then she did it. She got so much face work that I was like, fuck, I don't know what you look like before. And I looked up a picture of her before and after. The before was gorgeous. She was so beautiful. And now she looks like an alien.
I don't like any plastic surgery. Anyway, if you remember, this gal went viral for this right here. Do you remember her with debating in Jubilee versus Sam Theater?
She's the one that got pumped of Elijah cum, huh?
Yeah.
Sam.
So I actually think that this liberal world order needs to be thrown away completely. And I think Christian nationalism would be a good alternative. What we're seeing right now is just
congratulations.
And
I watch this and I should have thought of it at the time, but you always probably could. I think she's just being an e-girl and rehearsing this that will get her pumped up. It's
No,
like
this
some
is a-
girl who like watched Amelia Rise and now she's like getting purple hair and a choker and she's like
This-
practicing some of the lines.
This is Pearl Davis.
Yeah.
Because the first time I saw Pearl Davis, she was on one of these Jubilee type things. And Morgan was like, oh, I liked her so much. And I was like, I mean, she brought up some good talking points or whatever. I guess I'll look her up. And then I watched her for minutes before I was like, oh, she's a grifter. She's a fucking idiot. So I didn't go into this woman and watch her, but she gave me major Pearl Davis vibes.
Well, this was one of the ones that everybody at the time gave, like, they said, thanks a lot. This chick just came out and just made Sam Cedar look good, and all he could do is just sit there and go like, look at this idiot, look at this idiot, and great job. Like, way to go.
It's not difficult to make Sam Cedar look like a fucking idiot. So congratulations on your shit game.
And those are all the guys who are paying for her. Like, as soon as like they get some chick with any sort of prettiness, I like
Dylan Frost.
Yeah.
What we're seeing right now is a culture of death. This is the most suicidal generation ever. We have millions of children dying by abortion. People aren't even reproducing. We don't even have like a.
Should we mandate people reproduce?
No, I don't think we need to mandate. We can just stop them from killing their kids.
You want to outlaw abortion?
Yes.
Yes. I mean, we have a fundamental disagreement on this, and my claim was that if you voted for Trump,
word is on the street that Elijah made her get an abortion.
I know. I heard. Holy fuck!
It would be to your benefit if you want to outlaw abortion.
I think it would benefit everyone.
Yeah, I disagree. I think that women should have the right to choose.
I think that it would benefit everyone to bring back the family unit, to stop having women just thrown into the workforce.
Maybe we shouldn't allow women to choose to divorce unless their husbands say it's okay.
I mean, I don't really believe in divorce in general, so like, sure.
How's she going to deal with that one?
Jesus, I forgot how retarded she sounded on this.
All right. I mean, this I think though reinforces my point that if you are,
but it would be better for society. It would be better for everybody in society. And same with xenophobic nationalism.
Pudgy guy back there.
Don't you think that's better for Americans in general?
Like xenophobic nationalism is better.
We should have a coherent culture. Everyone should be a part of the same culture. We should have assimilation.
Which do you get to choose what the culture is?
We already have a dominant culture based on European and Christian values and identity. That is a dominant culture. It's rooted in European identity.
So your argument is that
has been the dominant culture.
Just to be clear,
we're not letting people assimilate to that. We're saying you should keep your culture, and this is why our culture is divided.
Did the brown girl ever argue with him?
I didn't watch the whole thing at all.
Okay, because
I remember this moment went viral for making Sam Cedar look good, and then of course, certain people said, "Well, she's based."
No, she's dumb. And the brown girl was like the first one to notice it, closely followed by the fat chud. Like they're both just like this. She's so fucking dumb. I want to know what the brown girl and the fat chud had to say, so I'll have to look it up.
That Trump is good for those who want a dominant white European culture.
I mean, that is what America is. It's rooted in European identity and Christian values.
He's just getting the talking points he wants out of her.
That's what it has been. Would you really disagree with that? What is it then if that's not the identity of America?
Well, I think the identity of America...
For the majority of time, America's been a country. You don't think that's been the identity?
Well, actually, no. I think actually the identity of America has been, for better or for worse, a melting pot in that regard.
Yeah. Maybe since like the 1960s. Even then, even we had this idea of a melting pot literally means assimilation too. It means melting. It means you're assimilating to the dominant culture. Is that not what melting means?
No,
and now instead we're saying there's something wrong with xenophobia.
Culture. No. I mean, look, I got to be honest with you. You and I have a fundamental disagreement. We will never see eye to eye on this. It's a choice. And people, I think what you're expressing, though, is really what the Trump movement at its heart is about. And I think that's
I disagree. I don't think Trump's anywhere close to being a Christian nationalist. That's ridiculous. Trump's basically a Democrat from 15 years ago when it comes to social issues.
So you don't think that he's conservative enough?
This is right about that.
Not for you.
Oh, definitely nowhere close. No.
She's right about that. But it's just because it's all a grift. She's like, Christian nationalism is good. Trump is good. He's like, is Trump Christian nationalism? Oh, no. Because in my heart, I know Christian nationalism bad, but I want to just bring this more to the right so that I can get more followers. Shut up, bitch.
Yeah.
Go have another Elijah abortion.
So Elijah just suddenly at the start of the week comes out with this thing saying, I don't know where my wife and kids are. I can't get a hold of them. They're filled with missing persons. They've gone missing, lost them for. I can't find someone in my household. They planted drugs and said I was a criminal. FBI. Spazzing out. And at first, everybody's like, did Elijah Schaefer kill his family? You know,
Yeah.
I am a victim of a serious targeted felony crimes. I am not suicidal. They have kidnapped my family. They have stolen my money. I will bring justice. I need the public to know I am in Virginia. Elijah Schaffer is so weird, man. And this is one of the things Razorfist was talking about is like even on his shows, like on The Blaze and those other things, they did not get a ton of views. They got like 1,000 views and he kept getting pumped up. Then he had that whole time frame where, did you see like where he went to El Salvador and was like the president's, you know, he was going around with the president of El Salvador for months. Yeah. He was going around with the president of El Salvador for months, and Gavin McInnes asked him about it, and he says, I'm employed by people who look out for the interests of the El Salvadorian president. And you're like, what the heck? And
I bet you hate AIPAC too, huh?
Yeah. So there was a bunch of rumors a lot of times that he would always go to the AmFest and all that stuff and throw big wild drug parties and orgies and stuff like that. This is that girl getting married to this dude. And I guess this dude like has a business and all sorts of money. She said that so I don't know if you saw how this all came out. It came out by her confessing it all on a phone call. You can listen to the entire phone call.
Oh, really?
It's like 10 or 15 minutes long. It's not rumored. So like on the phone call, she says she was having an affair with Elijah all the way up to the day that she got engaged with this guy.
Fuck.
And she got blessed by the Pope at her wedding. Yeah.
Jesus. That's wild.
And there's her wedding day, and there's Elijah down there congratulating her on her wedding ring. So he was boinking her the day before or something like that. That's his family that disappeared there. And it's a big old mess, and everybody's just stopping going like, why do you guys get all wrapped up into these idiot influencers, man? It's all kind of wild. Of course, they made some AI images of it. Here's this AI kind of grossed me out, but it's almost too realistic. I feel so bad for this dude, man.
I know.
But I guess that's what you get if you go chase after like an e-girl who.
I got this trad wife. I'm gonna. Oh fuck, she's boinking her boss. Oh, god damn it!
It's so ridiculous. Anyway, that's all that.
You poor schmuck.
Poor sucker. Do you want to get into Jonathan's stuff? Did you have anything else to say on stuff going on with ICE out there right now? It's just more.
One of the things I was going to bring up that was pretty hilarious to me is that they're now trying to say that all deportations should have a judicial warrant, which a judicial warrant is for a criminal case, right? And when it's a civil case, you don't need a judicial warrant. And so they want all of these people to go in front of the court system. And the funny part about that is that's their argument for like the last almost year. I've seen people saying like, illegal immigration isn't a criminal offense. It's a civil offense. I'm like, okay, but like it's a crime, right? It's illegal. Like it's not criminal. It's not a crime. Well, what do you mean? Well, it's a misdemeanor. Okay, misdemeanor crime, right? Like, no, it's a civil offense. So it was a stupid ass feedback loop that would happen. And now they're like, for this civil defense, we need a judicial warrant for any detainment. Okay. Is it now a criminal offense?
Yeah.
I just want to have their turd and shit it too.
I'm trying to remember. Actually, this is Warrior. Oh, they had that thing this week where some activists, I guess I got it on video here, activists called one of the ICE agents a house N-word.
Yes.
And
I saw one of the defenses in the comments of that was like, oh, you call someone else a name, you get called a name. How does that feel? I'm like, okay.
Yeah, we all don't get to.
Like we should rip people apart from their families.
Are you a man?
This is the most.
Is that
Chad
calling
moment.
a name? Asking if it's a man is calling a name.
Well, it's funny because This is the most Chad.
If you ask a trans person if they're a man, they can call you the N-word.
Yeah. So this is the most Chad way he could have possibly responded to it, because as soon as, and I'm not sure if it's the tranny that calls him the slur or not, but he says, "You're a house near," and he responds with, "Excuse me, sir, I need to get in my car."
He said, "Sir."
Yes. He's right here. He says it. You'll see.
People from their family. Does that feel good? Sir, I need to move.
Why are you calling a woman a man? I mean, what kind of a guy does that?
Your fucking neighbor.
We've reached peak crazy.
Like
in the city,
he's calling you're calling him something that if I went to any street in Chicago and called a person, I would probably die. Like, that's how much people hate that word. And then he's responding so stoically, just be like, "Okay, sir. Okay, sir." And that's the thing that gets you to try to attack his vehicle. Oh, I love it. You fucking pussy.
And then, of course,
at 34th and 17th, flames burn as people stand guard.
We are literally creating a place that we know who's coming and going in and out of our neighborhoods.
So what did I say? Almost all of the people that are involved in this nonsense happen to be white people. They also happen to be
And she's the acting ICE agents for their Chaz zone, I guess. We're the border patrol.
Papers, please.
Papers, please. Oy. I just found this. The final thing that Elijah Schaefer Cringy put out. He just put out this tweet. "Real ones, I got mad or a be mad. They will not get away with this. I'm not effing leaving. Game on." And the Matrix thing. What a
holy
ding dong.
shit, man.
If he still has a career after this, it's either completely astroturfed or people are stupid. Although I saw Razorfist say it's like this guy's just like known for a while to gear all of his content towards Indians, and he was one of the ones that came out or had some of those questionable ad placements are suddenly talking about using different betting sites and that sort of deal, and they got caught. They all at the same time started talking about these betting sites, and it was definitely geared towards Asians.
Awesome. What a guy.
The trans battle rages on, man. Jonathan got into it with Blair Hodges. Do you watch any of Blair Hodges stuff?
Oh, I have before, and not much because it was painful.
My name came up on his ones because he's one of the only ones that covered that article that talked about me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, he's a sniggle, but Wade says people are stupid, so he probably still has a career. That's probably true. Man. Anyway, Jonathan, can you even read that? Is it too?
Let me maximize this window here real quick.
I can't even see
it.
it.
I can get it. So it was Blair Hodges is talking about the trans shit, and Jonathan says, "Would love to hear an episode where you talk to physicians on both sides of this issue, so we can see how the bias and prejudices are interfering with good evidence-based care in this area." And then Blair responds, "The problem is one of credibility. It's not actually a both sides debate at this point. The science is firmly settled on behalf of sex and gender being spectrum." It's true. The classic spectrum. If you ever learned anything about statistics, you would learn that if you see a data set where 99.9% of all data are squarely on either X or Y, with that last 0.1% kind of scattered a little bit or merged in, that's a spectrum, obviously. Not even bimodal. Definitely not binary, but spectrum.
Yeah, I guess I should show that. I mean, this is the first thing that he was talking about, right?
Wow, the American Society of Plastic Surgeons declared opposition to gender-affirming care for people under 19, the first major medical association to do so. Is this the beginning of a trend? Probably not. Probably not, huh? Because other associations rely on science rather than politics. Note, the SPS has no issue with the tens of thousands of minors getting nose jobs and breast augmentations. Okay, well, I do. First, I don't have as much of an issue with that, but I have an issue with it because it's an issue.
I
of
don't think there should
degree,
be
not
any
type.
elective surgery like that going on until 18 years old.
No, if you're getting your 15-year-old daughter a nose job, fuck you. Unless it's like reconstructive surgery after she was in a house fire or something like that. We got to be nuanced here. But they decided just now. Also, I'd like to ask him his take on minors getting nose jobs and boob jobs. But they decided just now that they want to support bans on trans youth care to align with Trump's executive order rather than actual medical science. Again, as Alejandra Carballo put it, ASPS members are regularly doing boob jobs, nose jobs, and other cosmetic surgery on teens. Good point. Tell them to stop that too. This is their own report. But they aren't discouraging that because it's a cash cow for their members. A cash cow? What could possibly be more of a cash cow than creating a patient for life, which is what you do when you transition a 15-year-old girl. Also, please note that surgical procedures for minors is excessively rare. It never happens, but it should be able to. There are far more surgeries wrongly performed on intersex infants than on trans teens. Almost zero for the latter. Adapted from whatever.
You said this is all in the wake of the jury just awarding this week the first payout for making a surgeon liable for a medical malpractice related to mastectomy at age 16. $2 million being paid out, and many more should come. Although Matt Walsh did make a good point about that one as he looked up like the facts of the case, that the people arguing to win the case kind of tried to make the argument. It was like, oh, it could still be done right. These guys just did it wrong.
Yeah, they did the surgeries wrong. Yeah.
But the problem is, no, it cannot be done right. It's not right ever, in my opinion.
There is no correct
jacking with their hormones in their bodies like that.
Are you saying there's no correct way to entirely like puberty blocker? But we're killing puberty. That's what we're doing. We're not just blocking it. Blocking makes it sound temporary. Yeah. We're destroying it forever.
And there's no proper way to hack up the body for better health.
Oh yeah. But my favorite debate on this is whenever you say like you're doing irreversible damage with surgeries, and they're like, oh, I mean, how often do they never do sex change surgeries on minors? I was like, I'm talking about gender confirming surgery, which includes top surgery, which is the thing they do on minors pretty frequently, which is fucked up. Oh, they get new tits. All they got to do is have another invasive surgery and spend tens of thousands of dollars. They could get new tits later. Oh, that's a great idea. Anyway, he goes on. It's true that there's some value and entertainment in watching a real scientist debate a flat earther, but it's not really the kind of thing I predict. It's so hilarious to use that.
The balls to call it flat earth.
Yeah, the balls to call it flat earth when that's like, I think the thing you are espousing right now is dumber than flat earth. And I think I've said this before, but because if I were a caveman, and somebody were to come back, like Chris comes back in the past, and where I am a caveman, and he's like, so the land that you're on, the entire landmass, what do you think it looks like? I'd be like, it probably just goes on forever. And then if he was like, well, do you think it might be like a ball just floating in the ether? I'd be like, well, no, because if I got to the edge, I'd fall off, and plus I can't see it curving down, and so I'm pretty sure it's just this flat surface, and it goes on probably forever. I don't know. Maybe there's an edge you fall off of. And it would be reasonable of me to say that because I don't have any reason to believe otherwise.
More apparent phenomenologically.
But if he then comes, and me and Caveman Flip are there, and Chris is like, this person right here is female, I'd be like, what? Yeah, seriously, female. I was like, well, okay. I've seen his dick because his loincloth isn't particularly modest, but What do you mean he's female? Sorry, she's female. Like you couldn't explain it to a caveman. Like it would be easier to explain round earth to a caveman than it would be to explain gender identity. It seriously would. Even though, as we've been told, it's been around since caveman days. In fact, we have hieroglyphs in the caves that explain 3rd, 4th, 5th to 10th genders dating back 200,000 years. Idiot. Okay. There are some fascinating differences of opinion within the scientific mainstream, and I have some episodes touching on that. Yeah, I doubt it, buddy.
Wade says, I thought they were talking about flat chesters. But one of the things that Robert Barnes brought up about this is, I'm not a very litigious guy, but I'm all for every single one of those young people who wants to go and sue for the stuff to get all the money they can. But this is one of those cases that Robert Barnes points out.
I'm for those doctors going to prison.
All of George Bush's efforts to cap limits on how much you could sue people for medical malpractice, saying that that's what was rising the costs of medicine in the world, might come back to haunt people all across the board when it comes to any sort of COVID lawsuits or these types of lawsuits. Like they probably could have gotten a whole lot more money if it weren't for those things. So it's a case of your past dumb ideas backfiring on you. Sorry, keep going.
No, you're good.
I can't see the thing at all, so you gotta tell me when you.
This rando that you blocked out responded to Jonathan. That debate happened long ago.
I try to block them out. People out. I don't block out people who have channels, so I won't block out like Jackson Walker. I do have Jackson Walker mouthing off about.
Yeah, he's just retarded.
Yeah.
That debate happened long ago, and a consensus has already emerged on the side of gender affirming care. That was a bold thing to say 5 years ago. It's retarded to say now. Like that's after the Cass report came out. Like shit is turning on you guys. So you don't have the luxury of being able to say this is a consensus. It isn't.
You guys are the ones getting caught out doing leeching and bloodletting. You guys are the ones getting that. And that this isn't any of it at all to say that if there wasn't like so much, what do we call it, social contagion around it. If there was way less social contagion around it, Netflix was brought to Congress this week and asked like why they put so much transgender stuff in their kids stuff. And they said that they brought up a number and they were pulling it up that 50% of their kids shows have transgender material in them.
Jesus fuck.
If there wasn't so much social contagion, there would still be some kids that would think this way, and they should get certain types of treatment. I don't think medical intervention, medicalizing it, is ever the answer, because I don't think medicalizing anybody was the answer. When I was a kid of that age, I saw myself as a massive bodybuilder in my brain. Does that mean they should have medicalized me into giving me, I was against people using steroids at that time, even though I wanted and daydreamed of being that guy at that time frame. But I did not take steroids because it was stupid. And I thought everybody else should not have, and it was illegal because it should have been illegal. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a consensus. And all the dumb people haven't done research. They think we just started talking about this yesterday, but we've been talking about this since the beginning of the 20th century. What was happening in the beginning of the 20th century? What?
1900s?
Yeah, what was happening? The
John Money stuff way through.
That was like 60s. No, I'm joking about Weimar. And anyway.
Yeah. Well, that was all the way the 30s. I wasn't even thinking.
Yeah, that wasn't the beginning. So anyway, so Jonathan says, have you ever covered detransitioner stories? This is a subject that really gets distorted, and while I'm sure they exist, they are a tiny sliver on the margin, and those marginal cases shouldn't dictate how we treat everyone. Should they even get a platform to discuss their experience, since they could be so harmful? You cheeky wanker!
There's a rope and doping him in.
I know. And so then Blair says, I'm currently working on a project featuring a variety of trans voices, produced primarily by trans journalists. Oh, you fag. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. I'm the only cis person on the project. Well, pass the fucking mic, buddy. That's what you gotta do. Put your money where your fucking dick is. All right? Pass the mic to a tranny. You should be doing the side stuff. Okay. I'll have more to say about it later. But yes, detransition is a necessary discussion.
And just to say, like with Jared Slur, the one person he thinks is a fag there is you. The rest of them, he would not say that.
You're talking about, you're like, I'm the only person who isn't trans. I'm the only person who isn't actively trying to change my sex. So yeah, you're the faggot of this group. Anyway, good point. One of the most tragic aspects of detransition stories is how often they are the outcome of societal oppression. Oh, goodness. The disapproval of loved ones, the need to maintain employment in the face of discrimination. The lack
He's
of
saying the
access.
detransitioning is only coming from. Is that what he's saying?
Yeah, he's saying how often detransition comes from like parents.
Detransitions from pressure, social contagion into detransition.
Yeah, I know. Like that's reality inversion again. Fuck. Okay. Maintain employment in the face of discrimination, the lack of access to medical care, and other coercive reasons. The vast majority of people who detransition report it is because they are essentially forced to do it. Ooh, I'm gonna go full Reddit and be like, source. Okay, so I would actually say that in a sense, this tiny sliver on the margins very much should play a part in dictating how we treat everyone. Oh, should it now? God, Jonathan, you clever bastard. Prejudice and discrimination needs to end. And for those few who detransition because they changed their own perspective on their gender identity and feel transition was a mistake for other reasons, they should have the freedom and support to detransition or retransition. Oh, Christ. Oh, Christ. There's that classic Office clip of Michael Scott, Steve Carell's character, talking to his girlfriend about how, you remember when you didn't want to have a kid? So I got a vasectomy? And then remember when you thought you might want to have kids, so I got it reversed? And then you decided you definitely didn't want to have kids, so I got another vasectomy? Snip, snap, snip, snap. You have no idea the toll of 3 consecutive vasectomies has on a human body. And the toll of transition, detransition, retransition, that's got to have a way worse toll.
Yeah, when I watched the movie Face Off with Nicolas Cage and John Travolta, and they did all the plastic surgery to change him one way, I was like, I could see that. But changing him back, I was like, no, this is getting to be like a copy of a copy of a copy. I can't see this at all. And it lost all verisimilitude. Anyway.
Retransition. Just as they deserved when they first transitioned, for the same reasons. It is their life, and they get to make the decisions. Okay, so what happens when they detransition? What
is their the decision at 14?
What does their dick look like? Huh? Like the 6-year-old that you indoctrinated into thinking he was a girl gets pumped full of hormones, gets his mind fucked, gets to the ripe age of 18, has his dick inverted, decides to detransition. What's he gonna like? What he's gonna have to do the girl thing, because it's not like they can just like.
I don't care like how gung ho.
Right out.
I don't care how gung ho that kid was for that. If they let him have it, millions of dollars for that kid. He should be able to sue them all that allowed it to happen for millions of dollars.
Dude, millions of dollars in jail time for the fucking piece of shit doctor. But yeah, okay. And then the best comment, our favorite vocal fry, Jonathan Streeter, do not give airtime to idiots. That's how we got in this mess to begin with.
It's so weird because like I was confused at first if she was talking about detransitioners or talking about the physicians. I think she's talking about the original physicians thing, but it also does sound like she's maybe talking about the detransitioners or the.
No, she's just responding to. I think she's just responding to his original comment.
I thought so too.
So like he's saying physicians on both sides, and I saw the confusion in the chat on that, but no, because otherwise. It would have been a little reply thread on one of the other.
The
Anyway.
way we got into this mess in the first place is there was time giving to the idiot physicians that thought sex was real.
Yeah.
Dr. Helfer. Dr. Sex Helfer.
Which, by the way, 10 years ago, I remember somebody, not just somebody, so many people when we were talking about this, like in 2015, it became a pretty big topic, saying, no, sex and gender are different. Nobody's like, gender is a spectrum. Nobody's saying that sex is a spectrum or isn't real or whatever. And it was like a month later that Canadian show had Jordan Peterson on. He was talking with that idiot college professor who was like, basically it's a myth that sex and gender, that sex is real, or that it's not
I can unpack that
spectrum. Yeah, I'll unpack that for you. And I felt so completely vindicated by that, and now I'm over vindicated because now just all of them are saying that. Like all of them that are still trying to hold on to the tranny issue are saying that sex is a spectrum because they don't know what a fucking spectrum is.
In the seminal book about this gender trouble with Judith Butler, she makes all the big long case about how gender isn't a thing and all that sort of stuff, and it's not, you know, it can.
I'm with her, by the way.
I'm not talking about sex. In the very last chapter, she just goes ahead and goes all the way to sex too, and says sex is just a cultural or social construct.
Is it a social construct, Judith
The
Butler?
very original book went all the way there. It's not just that sort of stuff, you know. So here's Jonathan answering Natasha.
Jonathan loves these. Oh, what are they called? A chronic. I can't remember them.
Acrylic?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, acrostic. I remember it because he did this with me one time when I was still in an ex-Mormon group. They were talking about somebody who like wanted back in the group and was apologizing for their bigoted ways, and I was like, I think this is what it was. But basically my question was something along the lines of, okay, how does one repent for being a bigot in our community? Like, how does one get back into the good graces? And Jonathan did one of these acrostic comments just like this, and it spelled out seppuku.
Oh, seppuku.
And so, yeah, he says, love this. You have a way of cutting to the heart of an issue. Sex and gender are settled science, and doubters deserve no platform. Enough with both sidesism. Now the real fight begins to undo all of the distortions. Keep fighting, otherwise harm will continue to grow. Lysenko.
What do you think there are chances she knows what Lysenko references even?
I think less than the chance that she would even know what the cast report is.
She's never even heard of it to even like already have the talking points.
I don't know, maybe
it's problematic. Let's have Grok explain Lysenko to explain Lysenkoism. I probably could just done Wikipedia in a short paragraph. I need to get a Grok account because I keep it's high demand. Exactly, I knew it was going to
high demand. Oh, I mean, we could look at the wiki.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll pull up the wiki. Lysenkoism was a pseudoscientific political campaign led by Soviet biologist Trofim Lysenko against genetics and science-based agriculture in the mid-20th century, rejecting natural selection in favor of a form of Lamarckism, as well as expanding upon techniques of blah, 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 and grafting. This is retarded.
Is it too much?
It's just a lot before it gets to the actual...
You looked up Lysenko or Lysenkoism?
Lysenkoism.
That's it?
So Lysenkoism is based on the belief that physical attributes were transferred physically from the parent cells to the offspring rather than through genes. A simple example of this was the idea that if all the leaves were broken off a plant...
Oh, it's getting way too specific on like what his problem was.
Yeah.
He messed up their crops off of his stupid Marxist ideas that he tried to graft them on.
So wait, is he like trying? You
science.
get like a stalk of corn and you graft like 18 corn cobs on there, and he thinks that the
He
next.
thought that his crops would follow Marxism. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's hilarious because this is saying if all the leaves were broken off a plant, the future generations of the plant would produce no leaves.
Yeah.
So, I was bald when my second kid was born. He has hair. What the fuck? I did it wrong. I should have shaved Morgan's head too. Fuck.
Yeah, and they wouldn't back off of it, even though it like totally failed. And it's just grafting on your ideology to well, I guess in this case it was a Darwinistic claim because he was trying to do it into reproduction, but it's grafting on your stupid ideology onto reality and trying to force it onto people and make it make sense and go in the pathway causing tons of destruction because you're an idiot. I feel like there'd be a So there's the sex spectrum. I was thinking about this earlier because like they say, first off, there's no difference. There's hardly any difference between, I guess that's one of the things. There's hardly any difference between men and women anyway. Studies find no fitness advantage for trans women over cis women and downright sexist assumptions that cis men are naturally better at every competition than women. So
I've read that fucking article.
When gender is not a spectrum, in the first place, we're already talking about a pin, the head of a pin difference between what a male and a female is anyway, right? So the entirety of the spectrum, the million, billion different spectrum possibilities in there, all has to fit inside that gap that is non-existent also.
Yeah, no, I came across this because I still get like, because I comment on every I fucking love science article because most of them are so retarded. So I get them in my feed a lot. And this one, studies find no fitness advantage for trans women over cis women. It's like the opposite of one of those Scott Adams like stupid sciences, because they're always studying something obvious like waking up early makes you go to sleep later or some shit like that, or no, makes you go to sleep earlier. Like I could have saved them some money. It's the opposite of that because we didn't need a study. The study that a study that is more than enough for something we already knew is fucking Leah Thomas competing against men and ranking like 500th and competing against women and ranking like 12th or whatever. And they hang on to the 11 women that beat him.
Like, five dwarfs versus 5 giant women.
Yeah.
Powerlifters.
So this was hilarious to me because I actually clicked on the article and was reading it. And this was written by a PhD in astrophysics. So the STEM field is not safe.
Well, you remember the time Neil deGrasse Tyson wouldn't admit to that there was gender difference, there was sex differences.
God, that's retarded. But that's hilarious. I highlighted that. Downright sexist assumptions that cis men are naturally better at every competition than women. Look, you could conceive of a competition that women are more equipped to, but in physical competitions, they're not. Like
I bet you could invent a sport. We've talked about it before. You could invent a sport that women would shine in.
I'm sure you could. Yeah. It's just that men invent all the sports because they're more into sports. It's not.
They're the ones getting out there making competition and caring about watching the competition. That's one of the differences in the sexes. If women cared more about being competitive like that, they would have created different things that they were more competitive in, and they would have watched the things to give money to the thing that everybody's competitive in, and we would all be doing that, Here's a better explanation. The Lysenkoism 20th century pseudoscientific campaign that rejected Mendelian genetics in favor of neo-Lamarckian theories. Lamarckian theories, man. Political context, the theory was favored by Soviet leadership because it aligned with Marxist-Leninist ideology, promising revolutionary agricultural advances rather than the slow process of genetic selection. Consequences, it suppresses The suppression of classical genetics resulted in the dismissal or death of reputable scientists and contributed to severe food shortage in the USSR. Later in China, legacy today, Lysenkoism is considered a cautionary tale regarding the dangers of political interference in science. Just like that stuff, Josh Hawley asking that lady recently who said, we need to take all of our ideas, all of our politics out of this medical field. He says, well, can men get pregnant? What are you asking with that question?
I'm not sure what you're getting at.
What are you getting at with it? We don't. Was that a political question?
How many times does he have to try to replicate it and it fucks up before you're like, yeah, I don't think this worked? Because it should take just a couple yields, right? Like, I mean, the corn's a good example. This guy tells me, and I have no knowledge of agriculture or anything that I have knowledge of right now. Nothing about Darwinism, none of that. And he tells me, okay, I'm going to zip tie these 8 additional corn cobs to this stalk, and then the seeds will produce corn stalks with the normal one at the top, but also 8 additional. So we'll have more. And I'll be like, holy fuck, that's magic. Awesome. Let's try it. Let's try it once. Oh, it didn't work this time. Something fucked up. And I'll be like, well, okay, let's try it again. How many times does he have to try it before I'm going to be like, I think this doesn't work, buddy?
These are slides from Colin Wright. Colin Wright has the Reality's Last Stand. He is a biologist, somebody that Blair Hodges would never talk to because he's a flat earther. He is the biologist who takes this stuff on because it's plain and obvious. But the sex spectrum is actually looks like that. And well, if they're actually asking about sex, of course they try to add all those other layers on gender. But the sex spectrum, talking about the intersex that actually exists, and you see people fudge that number a whole lot. They'll always say 2% or something like that. It's not 2%. It's 0.02%. And
Dawkins talked about this with, was it Kyle Kolinsky? I can't remember who. It was years ago. Dawkins was talking to somebody about the whole sex thing, whether it was bimodal or whatever. And he's like, actually, sex is one of the only things we see in nature that is truly bimodal, that is truly dichotomous, or not, whatever. But it's it's funny because anytime I talk about this with people, I'll talk about different statistical distributions. I'll talk about a spectrum, and I'll be like, this is what a spectrum looks like on a graph, and then I'll talk about bimodal, and I'll be you might get somebody to concede that sex is bimodal. And I'll tell them, no, it's not bimodal. It's binary. It's completely binary. Because in nature, you're not going to get a perfect binary where 100% of the data fall on either X or Y, right? You're going to have some anomalies. And the anomalies do not disprove the rule. The exceptions don't disprove the rule. And it's hilarious because with this one, it's exceptionally hilarious because, no, that's an example of binary distribution. 99.9% of data fall on either X or Y, and then there's some variance, right? And if you're looking for something that's bimodal, you can do human height. Human height, if you graph it, it comes out bimodal. Ironically, along the exact binary lines of male and female.
Yeah. I always like this slide of him. It's always tough to find, but I wish I had it. And it doesn't have like all the details of it, but he has a slide that has more of the details of it. But when you are talking about the 11 types of known intersex conditions, the 11 sexes, or well, 9 extra beyond the 2 XX and XY, right? Chromosomal. Those can be parsed out into male female as well. They are parsed out. There are anomalies off of the male and female, and that second slide shows it right there, the pinks and the blues. There is a binary inside of those 0.02% of intersex positions. And one of the things I remember when I was first talking to people about this stuff, and you tell them, there's nobody in history who's ever made both sperm and eggs, right? Nobody's ever been able to impregnate themselves. And they have. Of course they have. There's tons of no, that's never once happened.
It's a nifty trick because when you say intersex, your average normie just thinks you're talking about a legitimate person who has a functioning penis and a functioning vagina, and that's one of the things I try like maybe twice a year when this stuff comes up to find an example on record of somebody who could produce both sperm and ova, and it's just never happened on record. And here's the thing, even if it did, like, that does not constitute anything other than binary, because we've found so little of it that we've only recorded it one time. We've studied it a lot, by the way.
Yeah.
Did you know clownfish can change their sex?
Human beings aren't clownfish.
Did you know reptiles, their sex is entirely determined by the temperature at which the eggs incubate? That's a very interesting fact. We're at this moment, actually, we're talking about humans.
We split off from reptiles hundreds of millions of years ago.
And I think you believe in science, right? So I think you're into that. Not sure.
They cock their head back and scream it and say the F word when they say they love it. But I think it was just so funny is because like then they'll go back to gender. Mott and Bailey always going on. Back to the gender thing, and they'll say, well, you know, because there's these intersex positions, which are very, very rare, and normally in the cases where somebody has one of those cases, those people are usually more likely to want to identify with one side or the other. They do not like that they're intersex. Maybe recently they've kind of come around, some of them, to being like, hey, I want to shout this to the moon. But in most cases, they want to be recognized as one or the other.
Yeah, well, and it also should give me an argument, because you guys have been screeching at me for well over a decade that sex and gender are different. So the existence of intersex people don't prove anything. I've asked people before when they bring up intersex, I'm like, okay, you test. I tell you that I'm a woman. I obviously look like a man. You test me to see if I'm intersex at all. You find out, nope, YY chromosomes, normal testosterone levels, produces sperm, has offspring. Am I still a woman? Well, yeah, because why do you care? You know, and I'm like, well, then intersex doesn't have anything to do with this, and it never has.
Yeah.
It's a
but then the people who want to use it as just a mental exercise of talking about how they feel their gender gets presented or represented or performed, Judith Butler performativity, they lean on the intersex people. They play the Mott and Bailey game and say, because there's intersex people, I must also exist as somebody who decides I feel a little bit like the other sex.
Yeah, but it's the worst Mott and Bailey ever, because the Mott is like 20 miles away from the Bailey, and they both have different walls.
Worst Mott and Bailey ever.
It is. It's the Mott is in.
Your Mott's in a different building. Your Mott's on the other side of the.
No, your Mott is in fucking Ohio, and your Bailey is in California. That's how bad it is.
Not very.
Let's retreat to the Mott. Well, we're not gonna make it. They're chasing us.
We got to run for about 4 days to get back to the Mott there. Yeah. So then Jonathan asked a little query.
Oh, this was great. He went from being passive aggressive to outright cunty here, and I love it. I love it when Jonathan stoops to the level of being almost cunty. I've seen this circulating around. I'm not sure if it's real. Did the American Medical Association join with the Plastic Surgeons Association in backing down from protecting affirmative care from here? But I don't know if this news outlet is biased. Oh, okay, that wasn't him being cunty. He gets cunty, doesn't he? I thought he did. I thought he got.
Oh, I think he's being.
He is, but there was one point where it was like obvious that he was being sarcastic.
I think it might come up. I've got the rest of it there.
I'm not going to be able to read that. Oh, there it is. The American Medical Association and the American Academy of Pediatrics recommend transition surgeries primarily for adults, but the adolescents can receive them on a case-by-case basis. The AMA appears to now be taking a more cautious stance. Really, we're going cautious on sterilizing and sexually fucking up children? Okay, thanks. I'm so glad that. Why did we have to experiment on this, by the way? Like, why did we have to be like, some of these kids they think wheelchairs are really cool. And they want to be in a wheelchair their whole life, so we're cutting their legs off. And we found out after 15 years of doing that, that it doesn't turn out great. When they grow up,
it didn't go great.
when they grow up, they want their legs. So that's our bad. We tried it this way. Why did you have to try it that way? Why did you need an experiment for this? You sterilized children.
It did so good. So we're going to run 3 more experiments starting now, 15 years later.
And it's anytime I bring
doing
it
the
up,
science. That's how you do science, the experiment.
Yeah. It's anytime I bring it up, I'm like, not only are you sterilizing them, but apparently you're making it to where they can never orgasm in their life. Why are you thinking about children's orgasms? Okay, because if I was a child and wanted something really stupid, and a doctor told my dad, if you don't give him this really stupid thing that he wants, he'll kill himself. And my dad went through with it, and it made me never able to come in my whole life. I'd be pretty fucking mad. So I assume my kids would be mad about that too. So Blair Hodges responds to his thing. They appear to be citing the National Review quote, which is unattributed. That's why this report hedges by saying the MA appears to now be suspicious. Also, we have to ask why these orgs are targeting only trans people. Per Alejandra Cabello, ASPS members regularly perform over 8,000 breast reductions annually between cis girls, 5,325, and cis boys, 2,942, which is far more done for trans than for trans youth in the hundreds. These can carry substantial risks of loss of function, sensitivity, and standard surgical risks. Yet ASPS isn't advising against those. Why? Okay, let's talk about this for a bit. Let's talk about why do you think breast reductions might be performed on cisgendered girls? Likely because of, I would say maybe because of back problems, maybe because of tumors. I don't know. Because if we're talking about just breast reductions, I'm assuming you're talking about double mastectomies as well, which would include cancer. Okay.
Yeah. I know, like some young men, they get the what is it, the gynecomastia, and they're sensitive about it and that sort of stuff. In those cases, I would still say they should wait till they're fully developed, wait till they're 18.
Yep.
Or older.
Yep.
I honestly think they should be working out to get rid of them, because they would go away if they work out.
Yep.
So good point, Blair Hodges. They should target those cis boys and tell them no.
I know you brought up so many good points. You told us about, well, how come you're not worried about young girls getting nose jobs? Like, oh, you know what? I didn't know that was a problem. Let's get that too. Let's outlaw getting 14-year-old girl nose jobs for purely cosmetic purposes. Duh. It reminds me of, I remember when this first started happening, like the lefties were all like, oh, you guys don't seem to be bothered by beauty pageant moms dressing their girls up and starving them and being like, but then the entire conservative answer is like, oh yeah, no, we hate that too. Get rid of that. Make it so then they had to stop talking about it because it doesn't work.
Yeah. I guess that was the entirety of I thought I had more from Jonathan there, but yeah, I guess that's it on the trans.
There was one more where he
I must have lost
it. Got real snippy and it was hilarious. But oh well.
Let me check and see. Hold on.
Hey, what's the best Zelda game?
Zelda game?
Yeah.
I messed it up. Or he messed it up. I don't think there's more.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I hallucinated it. You're probably gaslighting me right now.
Am I smoking crack? I think.
That's okay. Don't worry about it.
No, there's not more. At least that we saw in that one. Divas is out protecting the trans kids. I had a thing.
Divas doesn't believe anything.
During this episode of the Blair White Project podcast. And now on to the rest of the podcast.
To urinary incontinence and pelvic floor dysfunction. Good. I've seen a lot of informed consent packets from these gender clinics, and I have never seen one actually go into detail about what vaginal dryness entails. It's also crazy to me to imply that I, as a 14-year-old 8th grader, or the kids that they do this to are as young as 11, could comprehend the lifelong implications of being
Oh fuck the chafing! I didn't
have penetrative sex or give birth vaginally. That's not something that a child can consent to.
Period. And you guys know
the fucking it's just there's always more things that you haven't thought about, because I pride myself as somewhat of an expert on tranny issues, right? But like that's one of the things I haven't thought about is the fucking chafing that would happen after you have that. Like, do they have to just like inject lube up there every couple hours or something? Because otherwise all you're relying on is sweat. That's the only thing that'll come out of your neo-vagina is, I mean, it sounds gross to bring it up, but I'm trying to be intricate and think of all the complications. And that's one I hadn't thought about is you just got dry or sweaty skin just rubbing constantly as you're walking oh my God.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess Blair has Divas here, who's a champion to
like and share, and you can stay. This is for Divas at the Mormon News Roundup.
So watch this. Is this person AI created? The person who's supposedly talking to him?
Does he not have her thing in the
This
bio?
is for Divas at the Mormon News Roundup.
It's AI generated, the way her mouth moves.
So please like and share, and you can stay and listen if you want. Divas, I want to start by saying this. I'm not speaking to you out of hate. I'm speaking because I'm genuinely trying to understand.
Oh yeah, it is.
I hear you. What is
okay? No, it definitely is. Like I was thinking, yeah, you're probably right at first, especially when she mispronounced his name. That second, she said Davies, but then it said a question for the most famous ex-Mormon on the internet.
Yeah,
on her. So yeah, it's AI for sure.
Wanted.
So let me ask the first hard question. Was this the dream to become the greatest ex-Mormon of all time?
I dream of a world in which rationality is valued over blind obedience, where
fuck
critical
off.
thinking is prioritized over the worship of greedy prophets, and where Iron Age storm gods are relegated to the dustbin of history where they belong. That's the dream.
That's the least cringy thing you said. Imagine that you're putting out your 3 pillars, and the least cringy thing you say is that nobody believes in God.
Not internet clout, but a world grounded in reason, empathy, and evidence.
Because if it was,
go on.
You're doing an excellent job.
Well, all I ask you to do in return is hit the like and subscribe, kiddo. I am the undisputed king of ex-Mormon YouTube, as I demonstrate in this video. So it's nice to be noticed.
You've spent thousands of hours creating content about the very thing you say you hate, reject, and despise.
We should hate, reject, and despise the foundations of Christianity and Mormonism in particular. Racism, sexism, disgusting patriarchal polygamy, child abuse, angels with flint.
He doesn't even know how to do this. He doesn't even know how to intersectionalize everything. He just knows that they do that. So it'll be like, oh, it's founded on racism, sexism, and homophobia. And he'll be like, well, how? And I'll be like, because it is. Like, there's no way he could, like, he makes intersectional feminists look rational when he says shit like this. He's the quartering of ex-Mormonism.
Swinging swords, commanding horny prophets to groom teenage girls, the illegal hoarding of hundreds of billions of dollars, waging war against transgender persons, and every other unholy and impure practice tied to modern day Mormonism. Our more
a lot of religious and not very reasoned claims there. So you'd say you're the champion of what's reasoned, and then you go to unholiness and champion things that aren't reasoned. Did you see what Mom Donnie did to New York City?
Oh my God. This is wild. Like, Normally,
it's just cold.
Well, normally it's like it. I don't know. I'm trying to remember what happened in like the first 3 weeks that Biden was president. There was some crazy things people blamed him for that I was like, he's been president for 3 weeks. Like, I hate him too, but come on. But this is like, he gutted this is normal shit.
Yeah.
Like, snow removal, trash removal. This is just stuff that runs on it. If he hadn't done anything at all, the trash would have been gone. The snow would have been removed. Like, if he hadn't changed a goddamn thing.
Yeah, and then he was there. I mean, I guess a bunch of homeless people have already died under him, and I don't know why.
13.
Yeah.
So 13 homeless people have already died under him. And then I was looking it up, and I guess it's normal New York winter. There's in the entire winter, 20 people die. So he's already more than halfway to the entire allotment for the entire winter in like 3 or 4 weeks. I don't remember how long he's been mayor.
Yeah, and he
how do you do it this fast?
Yeah, he assigned an ex-convict to be his director of what do you call it, corrections, and beyond that, I mean, I guess on top of that, all this week he went and consoled a family of a guy who attacked a police officer with a knife, and you can watch the video of the guy attacking the police officer with a knife and him go instead of backing his police officer going to the family. But that's just Mom Donnie. Oh, it turns out his mom's in the Epstein files.
That means she's a pedo. We've learned that.
People say that there's stuff that she was getting money or was hanging out with him sometime a long time ago. And then some people are even like bringing up the conspiracy theory that maybe Epstein's his father.
Yeah, I've been hearing that.
Yeah. Let's see here. Epstein and the trans stuff.
Transgenderism was an evil psyop. Wait, you mean transgenderism was an evil psyop the whole time? From Robert Trivers, renowned evolutionist,
No way,
who studied sexual selection in populations of animals, to Jeffrey Epstein, subject trans. We are now pushing the intervention earlier. So you notice your 3-year-old son has trans tendencies. So now you intervene with hormones. Notice this, ready? I would be frightened to do so, but who knows? In other words, I wouldn't do it to my kid, but let's push it on their kids. Why would they do that? Oh, to help people? No, to increasingly produce novel phenotypes, more feminine men, by blocking testosterone receptors or through castration. The purpose of which is to create degenerate sexual fantasies, which promote prostitution and pornography and keep people paying for the injections, which are costly. This was never about medicine. It was promoting satanic, destructive, antenatal social patterns that these people can subvert and make money off of while destroying your children's lives and your nation because they hate you and they think of you like cattle.
So that guy talking to Epstein was who married Brett and Heather Weinstein.
Whoa.
Yeah, and they spent a while talking on their show today trying to kind of do some apologetics for him, but they weren't trying to be overly apologetic for him, but also not mincing words, but then also kind of apologizing that they don't think that he meant that way type stuff. But Epstein was obviously interested in it.
Why is everyone connected?
Yeah, crazy, huh?
Why? was Dick Cheney just a fluke? I'm going back to that meme. He's just like, I want to kill some fucking towel heads. Like, well, we want you to do that too, but wouldn't you like to rape some girls as a reward? Like, no, why do I need a reward? Just let me.
I just want to. Do you even actually want the oil? Not really. No, I just want the bombs.
I don't care about the fucking oil.
Just want to shoot some bombs and shit.
I just found out I'm being oppressed. I saw it on CNN. A white lady said it. Nobody knows black struggle like white women. And I thought I was having a good life until I got basic cable.
Yeah.
Poor guy didn't even know his life was hell. Thank God for white liberal ladies. I sound like Bill Burr now. Fuck.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, oh these great liberal women.
Have you seen any of this stuff these guys are doing? They're going around California proposing things to.
And results in our city. Yeah? Let's make it happen by transitioning our teacher staff from our current diverse lineup to a selective high-achieving team.
Let's not look at skin color and just look at the scores.
We didn't look at skin color. They're actually the highest achievers in this area.
It'll never fly in Orange County. I'm just telling you that now. Next.
And rest assured, 12% of their salaries will fund their Uber rides to and from schools. It's a win-win situation. Sharper minds in class and fewer risks on the road.
Sounds racist. I don't know.
He wrote it.
Stupid. So what? It's stupid.
What's stupid?
The whole thing.
Click here.
They have a bunch of different stuff where they present ideas like that to boomer people in California and freak out.
Oh, fuck, that's awesome. Autistic heroes right there.
Yeah. Do you know the Will Stansel lower?
Oh, see the lawyer that was in Minnesota recently?
Yeah, he's running around. He's getting beat up by other leftists who are around him. He's been a long time kind of shit lib who supposedly is like read a bunch of the stuff of the dissident right and gotten into debates with them because he's actually read their Italian elite theory and stuff like that. But he's still just kind of like a Richard Hanania shit lib. But he was the dude, if you remember, that Grok went nuts on and started saying it was going to rape him. Do you remember that?
Oh man, I missed Grok 3.
Yeah, they like went crazy and said like had this like whole like long fantasy about raping him, and then the Grok thing put out the thing that said it do be like that. Will Stansel, you remember that part?
Yes.
It became it do be like that. Well, somebody called C-SPAN.
To come in, but until then, your calls with Ankush Kaduri. Jack is in Texas, Republican. Jack, good morning to you.
Yes, hello, Mr. Kadori. It's a pleasure to speak with you. This is Jack Strickland. I would like to get your thoughts on a very specific example of political extremism related to events surrounding ICE activity. This actually involves a former attorney with the Rhode Island law firm of Hyde, Rochford, and Carroll. His name is Will Stansel, and he's an overt white nationalist who is currently wanted by the FBI. Stansel has a very large following among the far right, and he recently released a pro-ICE manifesto titled "It Do In Fact Be Like That."
Okay. Clear. This is not true. This guy is trying to embarrass
Goodness gracious. I don't got much time left. So, home math describing the difference between right and left. You want to see?
I'm up for whatever.
Oh, I like this one here. Your parents donating your inheritance to NPR and ACLU.
Oh God.
That one hits home. That one hits home a little bit for me.
Our experiences were just totally different with parents. Because, like, I don't know, your parents growing up, you talk about them now, they're like MSNBC Dems, right? Was it always that way?
Oh, no. No, it's since Trump.
Okay. Because, I don't know, my mom has never really been political. Although I will say the one time she finally got political was because her dumb show, The Bachelor, got political at one point. This was like Colin Kaepernick days. The Bachelor fired a host because he apologized for there was a contestant on The Bachelor and she had went to one of those, what was it, like the Dixieland pageants, and everybody tried to call it racist. And one of the hosts was like, well, I don't know if like she's racist for that. Like he didn't even apologize for it. He didn't even say she was right or that she wasn't racist. He was just like, I don't know that she's racist. And then they fired the host. Very high peak of cancel culture. And my mom, that was the first time I've ever talked to my mom about politics because it started invading even her world.
Yeah.
But my dad's always been just your normie conservative guy. It still is, like, still just a normie Trump guy. So it's weird hearing your experience with that.
Yeah, it's just since Trump, like they lost their minds with Trump, and also maybe with retirement, man. They got retirement and then just sat watching MSNBC all day, and MSNBC and CNN and everything that's mainstream that used to be ostensibly some sort of middle of the road thing just all got super sonic go crazy about Trump, and they just kind of gobbled it up.
Would you attack the police until they shoot you in the face to protect scammers from Somalia? Well, she would, allegedly, but why? Why would anyone do that? And where do people like this come from? This story was all over the news this week. Renee Good was shot and killed by an ICE agent for interfering with their duties, allegedly. People who do crazy things like this, allegedly, only exist because when people are too comfortable for too long, they get all fat and retarded. Humans create nice things, and then the stupid ones start thinking the nice things are free because they've never done any work. This is the cycle of collapse. And if you don't do real work, you never grow up. No one's doing real work these days. And so more and more people are remaining in these childish, egotistical levels of development. This woman was basically an overgrown baby, and she didn't know what she was doing. There are two things going on here. Number one is that a lot of liberals are just not capable of empathy. They think they are, but they're actually just hallucinating that the entire world either shares their values or is the devil. So this kind of liberal wants love and free healthcare for all, so the liberal imagines through psychological projection that everyone who comes here from the third world also wants love and free healthcare for all. Whereas in reality, a lot of people from the third world are still at an opportunistic level of development, which means whatever I can get away with. You probably heard about the Somalian daycare scams that cost Minnesota billions of dollars. That's opportunistic, or level 3. They want control, they want power, they want to gain. You're giving them billions of dollars for nothing, and the Democrats allow it because they want the Somalian vote. Conservatives tend to understand this better than liberals. They actually have empathy. So here's the conservative thinking, my family and my country should come first. And then when he thinks about what the third world thinks, that's thinking about thinking, he understands that a lot of them are just not like us at all and also not very friendly. But the liberal, who is just in love with his own wonderfulness, he assumes that everybody in the world wants the same things he wants. And that's not empathy, that's a projection. That's what happens when your empathy is developed to the level of a 3-year-old because you've never had to do anything difficult in your pathetic life. At this low level of empathy, you're going to assume that everybody has the same desires as you, or they're just a bad guy like Darth Vader. And now you understand.
It is a thing by Rob Henderson. Rob Henderson put out that most people claiming they think they have empathy are just projecting their beliefs into the minds of other people. Like, I feel what he's feeling. Like, no, you're imagining what that person's feeling.
Liberals and why they hate you for caring about your country. They think that you are being mean to the innocent babies who just want free health care. That type of liberal is either a retarded psychopath or a retarded psychopath with a fake degree in gay crying or victim studies. This video is not going to cover the regular psychopaths, the people who call themselves classical liberals who actually just don't know what century it is, or the naive white boomers who think that being nice makes people be nice back. The other kind of retarded psychopaths, which is to say not the naive ones, are bratty, entitled women and their simps, which is how this relates to our dating breakdown. Women like Renee have been told that they are all 10s all the time for so long that they can't even conceptualize being wrong. They just make...
I don't know why that's wigging out. You hear it wigging out?
No.
Make demands and wait for them. And if they don't get their way, then they try to run over the cops. These are the times we live in. About 48% of white women, usually the fat, ugly, insane ones, are actually using their political power to make sure that anyone in the world can walk into your country and steal from you. And it's all because we let them become a bunch of spoiled brats and naive little children.
Man,
So it's
you went balls out on that one.
In your wildest dreams, your government is basically Nazis. They are actually rounding up Jews or brown people or whoever it is to send them to extermination camps, and you confront one of them, and you are brave enough to actually try to stand them down, how do you do it? Like, what do you say to them? How do you act?
How if I'm actually confronting Nazis?
Yeah, let's assume it's real Nazis. You're actually brave enough to confront them for sure. How do you act? Like, you have a Jew in your attic, and I'm there saying, "Give me the Jew in your attic." And like, what
if they have all the guns and you don't? Like, it wasn't.
They have all the guns. So no, but they have all the guns.
Petrified.
Oh no! What I'm saying is, I have all the guns. You don't. I'm coming to get the Jew out of your attic, but you are brave enough to defy me. How do you act? What do you say?
You hide it. I mean, if you're brave enough to like mouth off to them, even though you'll just get automatically killed. And
Yeah.
get the person upstairs killed.
Yeah, it's well. I guess I'm trying to.
I'm asking if you're thinking like I'm still supposed to be like hiding the person and trying to stay safe, like the dude in the beginning of Inglourious Bastards.
Well, it's
trying to
like
stay quiet.
Like they know that the Jew's up there. They can see her. You know that they know that. Like, how is your brave final stand? Is it like basically what I'm getting at is it's like you're gonna be scared out of your mind. You're thinking I'm gonna die.
Out of my mind, and yeah,
You're like, I'm gonna die, but I'm brave enough to do this.
I'd probably just charge him and not even try to talk to him. I don't know.
Yeah, sure. So you just look at how all these middle-aged lefty white women act to ICE. They don't act like that. That's how people would act in a situation where they were being brave, where they actually thought they were in danger from this authoritarian nightmare figure.
If they're coming, they know, and I know they know. It's kind of just like if you know you're getting a fight, and it's really happening, you punch before you get.
Yeah, no, if you're dealing with a Nazi like that who's going to kill you, it's fight or flight. Maybe you'll run, maybe you'll fight, but what you won't do is be like, what are you doing here, bitch? Are you insecure?
And then they pull out a gun. They're pulling out again. They're pulling out again. Look at this. They're pulling out again. Look at me.
These people are acting like they're always on camera because, I mean, in their defense, they are. but it's none of Renee Good had zero. There was nothing inside her that felt like she was in danger. No. Like and I don't buy the fact that
her wife was screaming afterwards, like, "Why? Why do you have real bullets?"
Yeah, I know. Well,
they assumed they didn't
because the fake ones don't shoot through windshields, you fucking bitch. But there was never a part of her that thought she was in danger, even and you can look at the clip as she drives toward him. She's looking at him. I don't really even think she was trying to run him over. I think she was just okay with like smacking him with her car out of the way and possibly breaking his leg.
Man, I don't feel that come around cops when they're just next to me on the freeway, man.
No, I know. And I'm like, there was even doing that, blocking the freeway, a cop confronts her and she's a snarky cunt to him, and then like smacking him off the side of the road while she's trying to get away from the cops. She didn't think she was in danger at all. Not even a little bit, not even for a second. She died not knowing she was in danger. And I'm like, that's not how rational people treat Nazis. So either you're not a rational person or you don't actually believe these people are Nazis.
Yeah.
Probably both.
Yeah, well, this is I mean, it'd be a good thing to cap it off with, but I got to get going because my dog is already starting to go crazy. This is pretty good. A Broken Rune. Disney morality is getting millennials hurt. It's pretty good. Just kind of covering that you grew up in like this black and white Disney morality instead of like your religious morality that might be more based in the real world of, well, let's see what Rhett from Good Morning says.
Are you on a different page right now?
Yeah, sorry. Broken Rune, RUUNE, Disney morality is getting millennials hurt.
They believe the universe is keeping score on history. These are not niche beliefs either. Here is one of the largest content creators on the internet, Rhett from Good Mythical Morning. basically being an unironic example of my entire thesis with this video. Here, check it out.
Let's talk about what's going on in Minnesota. You know, sometimes you're at like a coffee shop or on a plane, somebody is watching a movie in front of you or next to you, and of course you can't hear it, but you can kind of see a little bit of the movie and you kind of get an idea of what's going on by seeing a scene or two. Well, if what is happening in Minnesota was a movie that somebody was watching in front of you, and you saw the scene with what happened to Renee Good, you think you get an idea of maybe what the movie was about, of who the bad guys were? And if you didn't, what about when you saw the next scene of what happened to Alex Pretty? Do you think at that point you would know who the bad guys are?
It's all a fucking movie.
Watching the movie said, hey, I want you to watch this with me. And you put in a headphone. And then you watch the next scene, which was the people who were responsible for what happened to Alex Pretty, lying about him and lying about what happened in order to justify their actions. Would there be any doubt in your mind as to what this movie was about and who the bad guys were? So here's my legitimate question. If you're one of the people who you're watching this movie along with all of us, and you have not yet figured out who the bad guys are, what is it going to take? What do you need to see to figure out what this movie is about?
I'm going to be real
I
with
need
you
to
guys.
see Optimus Prime doing it.
Already fully written this script before I had seen that video, and when I saw it, I was like, holy shit, he literally said the thing. He literally compared real life politics to movies. He really simplified power dynamics to good guys versus bad guys. Holy shit, I'm going to have to add this clip to my video.
Yeah, that's pretty good video just talking about everything's Harry Potter and Star Wars now. But anyway, do you guys like heads or tails for the coin toss in the Super Bowl? Asked Big Chris. Tails. I haven't watched any football this
Tails? Are you fucking retarded?
year.
No fucking heads. Jesus
You
Christ.
always go with tails?
No, I was just gonna say that no matter what you said. Wait, I don't even know who's playing. Seahawks, right?
Yeah,
I think is it Seahawks and Patriots?
Seahawks and Patriots, which is weird. I can't like that sounds like a 10 years ago team. I haven't been following it all anymore.
I haven't watched a Super Bowl
Didn't
in
we
probably 10 years.
Didn't we play the onion coin toss on that? Didn't we?
Back to the big NFL story of the day. The Jacksonville Jaguars forfeited their game against the Tennessee Titans today after the pregame coin toss caused the Jags to realize the randomness of life and the triviality of their own existence. Joining us now is Senior Onion News Network sports analyst Reggie Greengrass. Reggie, you were right there on the sidelines today. What happened from your perspective?
Well, Michael, it started when the referee told Jaguars co-captain Fred Taylor to call the coin toss to start the game. As the coin was in the air, Taylor was apparently struck with an existential epiphany and asked the ref, quote, what meaning can life have if the future can be dictated by the random chance of this coin? Existence is a vulgar absurdity.
You can't wise off to a ref
It's Noah Harari football.
like that, especially at the start of the game.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Michael, Coach Del Rio chewed Taylor out, telling him to quit pondering the inconsequence of being in a universe governed by chaos and just play some football.
Well, Del Rio is known to have a real short fuse. I wouldn't mess with
He
him.
was mad as hell, Michael, but Taylor just took it. Finally, he asked Coach Del Rio, if a coin flip decides our kickoff, and a kickoff decides the outcome of this game, and the sum of all the outcomes of our games is equal to the sum consequence of your life as a coach, then is not your life no more consequential than the fluttering of a tiny metal disc?
Postulating the triviality of Coach Del Rio's existence. And what does Taylor want to ride the bench all year?
Believe it or not, Michael, Del Rio really took what Taylor said to heart. He called the rest of the team over and told them, quote, go out there, give whatever percentage you want.
You're
it does
kidding.
not matter. We are but blades of grass tossed to an uncaring wind, all efforts vain, all order an
So a
illusion.
complete loss of team cohesion.
Michael,
the first game of the year.
It was out of control. The Jags started smacking themselves in the face with playbooks in hopes that the sting of pain would bring them into consciousness of the present moment and shouting imponderable riddles to
Oh,
the
those
fans.
fans must have been furious.
Well, they were upset. No one likes
Yeah.
to be told they're just
How old
specks of
is
dust
it?
floating through the universe without purpose.
Right.
After that,
Oh, you know it's old school.
Wait, you gotta go scroll down. I want to see.
17
Oh,
years.
of course. Holy fuck. Because we always sort of just say and almost take it for granted, man, The Onion used to be good or SNL used to be good. And then you watch something like that and you're like, holy fuck, they used to be really good.
Yeah. They sure did. All the actors on it were crazy good too. I wonder, like half of them, like why they didn't turn into something. They were so good at like that Naked Gun deadpan stuff.
Yes. No, this is awesome. Every part of this is awesome.
Yeah, the way they just.
after refs kicked the entire team out of the game, forcing the forfeit.
Starting 0-1, that's not good.
No.
Where do they go from here? I mean,
Michael,
what a disaster on
too
the
soon
first
to say,
Sunday.
Michael. So far, the team has refused to come out of their locker room or speak to the press. They simply left a note outside reading, in part, all semblance of order or purpose are symptoms of the sickness in man's ego-mad mind. This is not possible until the end.
Well, it sounds like the only answer for them is suicide.
You said it, Michael. Unless someone can convince the Jags that existence has meaning, Peyton Manning can rest easy.
So bad news for Jacksonville fans, but good news there for the rest of the AFC South. Reggie Greengrass, thank you very much.
Jesus Christ. Every part of that was great. The pacing was great. They didn't even stick with the same joke all the time. The note was perfectly written. They scrawled it. They like hand scrawled it.
It looked like an actual news report.
I know. It looked amazing. Every part of that was so fucking good.
Beyond that, like they knew the football too. They knew the AFC South. They knew the coaches. They knew the. There's no way Onion writers even know that.
Even the. This is even better than the autistic dude reporting on the train wreck. Which that one was awesome.
Really good. Anyway, that's what I think about the coin flip of the football game. It doesn't matter anymore. So anyway, I got to get going and walk this dog. He is going nuts.
Yeah, I'm a big Seahawks fan, so that's who I'm going for.
Are you?
No.
No.
I was a Raiders fan when I was into football, but I was in elementary school. Like seriously, the last season that I watched religiously was Tampa Bay versus Oakland, and it was in 2002, and that was the year that Janet Jackson's tit flopped out, and Rich Gannon threw like 4 interceptions in the last half and lost them a game that they had handed to him. And I was like, I'm done with this. I put so much fucking time into it, and I was like 11 years old.
That's so fun. Have you watched the new Naked Gun?
I watched the first half of it, and then I had to go do something else. But
I think it's all right, but he says the joke in it of I'm still thinking about that Super Bowl with Janet Jackson. He's like, that's 12 years ago. Not to me.
Yeah, that's to me.
About it.
I got into the NBA in elementary school too. I was watching everything, and it was really because I'm a contrarian, and that was when the Lakers had Shaq and Kobe, and they were just winning. And I was a Pistons fan because they were the first team to break the Lakers streak of the playoffs.
I beat you in contrarianism here. I beat you all the way. First off, I was a Jazz fan and was for years, and they'll never win. But I was a big NFL goober, football fan, freak, all that sort of stuff. And my lifetime fan team was the Chiefs. And as soon as they got good, I could not watch anymore. Yeah. I was just done. I can't watch. I don't watch any more games. I'm done watching. As soon as I got my wish that they were the good and the talk of the league, and everybody became a bandwagon jumper, I was done with football entirely. I just can't. Man,
that's pretty brutal. See, my biggest contrarianism debacle. I know I've told this story on here before, but it was when in the NBA, I think what I was trying to say, because I was in elementary school, so grant me some grace here, but I said Kobe Bryant sucks. Because we were arguing about like the Lakers, because I wanted the Pistons to win and they won, and I was a huge fan of like Rip Hamilton and with his weird little face mask that he was wearing. And then we're arguing about their stats and stuff, and I was like, "No, man, Kobe Bryant sucks." And my friend was like, "Dude, you don't. Come on." And immediately I knew I had fucked up. And that's what I think of anytime you talk of the concept of like having an opinion, like, and coming out so strong with it, but then realizing it's stupid, but you've already married yourself to it. And so you gotta, but I didn't marry myself to it. Granted, I was like, okay, you're right. He doesn't suck.
Kobe Bryant's one of the wrongest things I've been about in my life. I hated him partially just from being a Jazz fan back in the day. And I hated him. I hate him because, I mean, they'd beat us and kill us and all that sort of stuff. And I hated his cockiness and arrogance. All these years later, it turned out like on some level, like with his kids, he's a family man, but he was just the hardest ass worker that ever was. And just he started shitting on all the younger kids who came in the league and just weren't willing to work like he was willing to work and all that sorts of stuff. And I was like, I was wrong about that dude. I was just so wrong about him. But I hated him too. But some of that was just Jazz fanery. So
you ever watch the celebrity death match, Kobe versus Shaq?
Oh yeah.
It was just Kobe goes to punch him and it does nothing, and Shaq immediately rips his head off, and the rest of the episode is Shaq balling up Kobe's body parts and trying to make a free throw with him.
Yeah.
Kobe
was right about Shaq. If Shaq had listened to him, because Shaq would have way more championships and they'd have been doing well. But
right about him? How? What did he say about him?
He's lazy.
Oh, was he?
Yeah. Just would take the summers off and all that sort of stuff. Wouldn't work out. Wouldn't stay in shape. All that sort of stuff. And he's right. If he did stay in shape, they would have had 3 more championships. So
yeah.
Anyway, but Shaq's awesome too. Shaq's like, if you ever follow stuff about how cool Shaq is behind the scenes, people like compare him. Like,
I've heard he's really, really good to people.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kobe's up there shooting free throws with Scott Adams now. Unless
he didn't even know COVID happened, man. He died right before COVID happened.
I know. Did Kobe accept Jesus?
I don't know.
Oh fuck! I hope he did.
He died probably like right over the hill of where Scott Adams lived. But
all right, well,
anyway,
you go walk your damn dog.
Okie dokie.
All right, see ya.
Have a blast.